with less?
So, and there's no pushback again because Margaret Brennan is there just to prompt the official from the state to recite the party line. She's in their employ de facto, and of course that sounds wonderful. Oh, deported, they've returned more than any over this period of time in this administration. So here's the thing. I mean, it's just fun with numbers. If you open the borders and you allow millions upon millions of people to come, then even if you return a small fraction of them, you're going to return more people, or you're going to turn away more people than previous administrations who were actually somewhat more serious about border security. So, I mean, it's completely misleading. But that was beyond Margaret Brennan's either comprehension or job description. One of the other things that was raised was this prospect of Biden taking executive action.
Right. He could do it in a swoosh of a pen and paper, 94 executive actions. That he could just do it. But he won't do it, and we don't know why. And reporters confront
we
him.
do know why. We do know why because we get their response from them all the time. We know why, and we know what their excuse is. We know both. The why is they've done what they want to do on the border through those 94 executive orders you just mentioned. That's what they wanted to do, so they did it. That's what he wanted to do, so he did it. He doesn't want you to do, he doesn't want to do what you want him to do. It's just that simple. And we also know what their excuse is. We need money.
Why are you waiting to take executive action on the border?
Because we need more forces on the border. I don't have the authority to do that.
Mm-hmm. We need
I don't
more
have
forces.
the authority. Be a leader. Stop it.
Go ahead. Go
so
run with
serious.
that. Run with that.
You could
Run
pause
with,
deportation. You could suspend, remain in Mexico.
Yes, we know what he could do.
And
Run
he
with
just
that.
won't do it. Okay.
Run with that because who is buying that? Very few people outside of Glen Ellen and Wilmette are buying that. Mayorkas, so on that issue of executive orders, Brennan asked him about 212F executive action, which is within the president's purview, arguably, though there's been some dispute in courts of law. But within the president's purview, certainly to press the issue again, to remove people from this country who pose a threat in the estimation of the executive and, the implementers of his policy. Here's what Mayorkas said to that.
We have an obligation to consider all options as we do day in and day out.
Yeah. Of course, right. Consider all options. And, he talked about, well, the courts have weighed in on some of these issues and so on and so forth. No, at no time did Margaret Brennan say, well, Allie, isn't this you and on MSNBC back in September of 2021 saying this?
And I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
So on those executive actions that Biden is considering reportedly, or that he could or should be considering, in your estimation, as not just a former prosecutor, but the Homeland Security Secretary, including 212F, but not limited to that, how do you understand, counselor, the president's executive authority on the issue? Is he only able to rescind orders from President Trump? He's not able to promulgate his own? Or he's not able to redo what he undid? Of course not. But those questions weren't asked. And then on Lake and Riley. Mayorkas on Lake and Riley. This is important, too. And whether or not this was a failure of the system. Gee,
you think? Well, what canned answer did he give?
Oh, that's a real brain teaser. Was this a failure of the system? I don't know. Somebody murdered somebody in this country who shouldn't have been in this country. Is that a failure? He had previous interactions with law enforcement. Is that sounds like it's a failure somewhere, but is it one of those Pentagon failures where we were wrong, but we were wrong as a group, and we were wrong in the abstract, but nobody was concretely wrong? No individual will be held to have done wrong?
So, Margaret, there are a number of cities around the country that have varying degrees of cooperation with the immigration authorities. We firmly believe that
New York did not?
We firmly believe that if a city is aware of an individual who poses a threat to public safety, then we would request that they provide us with that information so that we can ensure that that individual is detained if the facts so warrant.
And it sounds like they were not coordinating.
Well, different cities have different levels of cooperation. We were not notified in this instance.
In context that you can answer. Is it the policy?
So different jurisdictions have different levels of cooperation with ICE. So do tell. So and we weren't notified, right? We weren't notified by New York. We weren't notified by was it Atlanta in Georgia where he was also had the interaction with law enforcement?
No, it was the town that she was killed in. Athens.
Oh,
they had because he and his brother stole $200 worth of goods from the Walmart store.
Right, Athens, right.
Yeah,
so,
and they had him, and then they released him.
And there are no sanctuary city jurisdictions in Georgia by state law,
right.
but as we heard from the Athens mayor, you understand that his de facto position is to operate like a sanctuary city. So the natural follow-up to what you just heard from Mayorkas, they're differing. They're cities with differing levels of cooperation. Yeah, no kidding. We call them sanctuary cities or sanctuary jurisdictions. So the follow-up would have been, right, you just said you would hope that they would communicate with ICE in those situations like New York City could have or Athens, Georgia could have. You would hope they would, and your office was notified, you say. So what does that say about sanctuary cities? Would you like to make a comment on sanctuary jurisdictions? Would you like to characterize, since they didn't notify you, so you can absolve yourself of responsibility, although you're passive, if not openly supportive of sanctuary city jurisdictions, so you don't come to the table with clean hands on this. Would you like to make a comment on the failure of sanctuary jurisdictions and politicians that are so oriented, including that Athens mayor? Was that a failure on their part? Because they had law enforcement interaction, they could have contacted ICE, he could have been held for deportation, and none of that happened, and now a 22-year-old girl is dead.
And she was laid to rest on Friday, and her mom, she didn't talk to the media, but she released a statement on Facebook basically saying that this was an avoidable tragedy. She's, looking to her Lord and Savior to help her through this difficult time. And it's just heartbreaking if you read the whole thing. I mean, her mom's right. An avoidable tragedy.
So then Mayorkas goes over to CNN and Dana Bash.
Is he done yet?
Dana Bash checks the box, asks the pro forma question so she can say, I asked him the question. He gives the canned regime response, and we all move on. This was specifically about, why? Why did Biden do all of this, and why does he not want to address it? Is it an interest in remaking the electoral composition of the United States, perhaps? No, perish the thought.
In context that you can answer. Is it the policy of the Biden administration to allow as many migrants to come across the border in order to change the political dynamics, the electoral dynamics of America?
Of course not. And the facts indicate that that is absolutely false. Since May of this year, of last year, we have removed or returned
and then you get the line.
More individuals.
Same line you heard on Face the Nation.
Year since 2015, and we haven't even run 12 months.
And
over
that,
the last 3 years,
and he just continues,
removed
the exact same talking
more
point.
People than
and Dana Bash dutifully moves on. I did my job. I said, are you bringing them in here to change the composition of the electorate? And he said, no, of course not.
We should brush aside.
And that's the end of the discussion. Is it? That's the beginning of the discussion. The facts prove that. What you do or don't do and the number of people that you've turned away, given the number of people that have gotten away, is irrelevant to the question of the possibility of suborning illegal voters by allowing people to illegally enter this country. And with all the legal loopholes or openings, opportunities, if you will, that we've discussed with the voter registration acts that are governing court interpretations of those, the lack of the need to provide any proof of citizenship or ID of any kind in so many jurisdictions.
I mean, I love CWB Chicago because they always introduce us to our new neighbors. Well, they want to introduce you real quickly to the most arrested migrant of the week. He's been using 3 different names, and he got arrested for hitting a security guard outside the Target store in the back of a head with a plastic water bottle. He lives at the Standard Club, Dan. He was also arrested in February under a different name. In that case, cops say that he was smoking a crack pipe on Lower Wacker. And, you know, he's just been arrested several times, and he uses 3 different names. And now we need to get him off the streets.
We'll pick this up because there is, we got to get some Republicans weighing in on this too over the weekend in advance of tomorrow's Super Tuesday elections and Wednesday's State of the Union address. We'll do that at 5:38.
And Nikki Haley won something. Mike Scott will explain. But now into the newsroom we go. Here is the one and only Mike Scott.
Coming up on 5:33 here on AM 560, The Answer and the Supreme Court is due to issue at least one big decision this morning. It really could be a big one, as Fox's Jack Callahan reports.
The High Court has a custom of not saying which case prior to releasing a decision, but it could be a ruling on former President Trump's appeal of a decision by Colorado's highest court to exclude his name from the state's presidential election ballot. The justices heard oral arguments in the Colorado case on February 8th. Both sides asked for quick action from the High Court. A resolution of the case the day before Super Tuesday could remove uncertainty about whether votes for the former president will ultimately count. In Washington, Jack Callahan, Fox News.
We expect the opinion or opinions to be posted online around 9 a.m. Nikki Haley takes the win in Washington, D.C.'s small GOP primary. 63% of the primary vote.
Are we going to go where you had Donald Trump? He grew government. He didn't reduce the size of government. He put us $8 trillion in debt in just 4 years, more than any other president.
Haley maintained for weeks she'll stay in the race through tomorrow's Super Tuesday contests. NASA and SpaceX celebrating the successful launch of the Crew 8 mission to the International Space Station.
Engines full power and liftoff of NASA Crew 8. Go Falcon, go SpaceX, and go NASA.
SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavour on top of a Falcon 9 booster took off from the Kennedy Space Center last evening. We're watching heavy snow cripple California, creating life-threatening conditions around Lake Tahoe, wind gusts of 190 miles an hour, and this morning 100 miles of I-80 are shut down. One teen is dead, another is injured after a shooting in Chicago's South Loop.
The entire Walgreens parking lot was filled with young people, anywhere from late teens to mid-20s. They were traveling around and around the block. The police told us to lock the doors, so we did.
The victim who died identified as 17-year-old Jeremy Smith, while the second victim, a 15-year-old, is recovering. 2 Chicago police officers recovering after someone shot into their police vehicle Sunday. It happened around 2 a.m. in the Humboldt Park neighborhood. One officer struck in the vest. The other suffered facial injuries from broken glass. The Bulls are at Sacramento tonight. Blackhawks visit the Avalanche. It's the Cubs and Padres in spring baseball today, while the Southsiders take on Arizona. The news, a service of Chicago's Gaelic Park House Raffle. Enter to win a brand new home or a $450,000 cash prize, $100 per ticket. Drawing held March 24th. Visit ChicagoGaelicParkHouseRaffle.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Don't miss collegiate swimming champion and women's sports advocate Riley Gaines live in Chicagoland on Friday, March 22nd at Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Hear Riley talk about her fight for equality and fairness while standing up for women's safety, privacy, and equal opportunities. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/tickets. That's 560theanswer.com/tickets. Sponsored in part by Blue Star Security and by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
You know, daily stress is such a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stress attracts diseases just like blood in the water attracts sharks. And for over 40 years on Chicago radio, we continue to share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to help minimize your need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. So today, it's our dirt cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. Now, most people don't do so well on their first go around signaling adrenal gland distress. And then they follow our stress busting strategies and pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call for your dirt cheap adrenal stress index test and we will hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Just call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Dennis Prager, weekdays at noon Eastern, followed by Jay and Jordan Sekulow at 2. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Xumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Xumo.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boiler to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Business owners, own a custom-designed building from General Steel. Call 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-957-8335.
5:39, a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Second City Prime Meats and Seafood. Now you can enjoy world-class meats and seafood that you just won't find at the butcher. Japanese Wagyu, Iberico, Spanish pork, South African cold water lobster tails, and Colorado domestic lamb. Discover more at secondcityprime.com. Stevenson inbound already jamming up between Pulaski and Kedzie. Dan Ryan express lanes coming inbound your slow 35th into the Stevenson Reagan. An accident with a left lane block eastbound right before Watson Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Today, mostly cloudy, breezy by the afternoon, and a high of 73. Mostly cloudy with a couple of heavy thunderstorms possible. A low of 42. 53 and partly cloudy right now at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy talking border security, immigration, the politics of it, what we heard over the weekend going into tomorrow's big elections, as well as anticipating what we might hear from Biden on Wednesday night when he delivers the State of the Union address.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, this was central to Trump's messaging over the weekend when he was in Richmond and then later in North Carolina. You mentioned the crime issue, too, Amy, before the break, talking about CWB Chicago's, migrant criminal of the week and so forth. There's another story, madman, quote-unquote, illegal migrant accused of targeting female docs, nurses in the Bronx is on the lam. Unhinged madman, long rap sheet, targeting female doctors and nurses, at least 4 attacks in the past 5 years. Believed to be a Caribbean immigrant who came to the United States illegally more than a decade ago. He's been arrested 23 times on charges that include gun possession. Now the 42 arrests that have been sealed since he arrived in the United States. So 23 arrests that we know of, or that we have details on the charges, another 42 that we don't have those details. He's targeting medical professionals, females. He's attacking them. He's been here for more than a decade, and now he's on the run. And for some reason, all of those interactions with law enforcement, and he's still here committing crimes and evading authorities.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. And this guy, that's the one that was, the migrant of the week, meet your new neighbors segment. He was also arrested in November 28th, stealing about $300 worth of stuff at the Uptown Target store. So apparently he likes Target. And those charges were dropped.
So I wanted to say something about this crime matter because this is being debated. Migrants don't commit as many crimes on a per capita basis as indigenous Americans, as American citizens, and arguing about, is there a migrant crime surge? Is there this migrant crime wave, and the characterizations of this? And I'm hearing from libertarians as well as, of course, from the open borders left, and those two are often not so far apart, are they? The data doesn't back that. Completely missing the point. Completely missing the point. I don't care if the incidence of crime is a fraction in the people who are here illegally community as opposed to the people who are here illegally community. That's not the point. The point is preventable crime. Yeah. Just like we talk about preventable crime when it comes to American citizens who are habitual criminals, habitual violent criminals, and are not prosecuted by Kim Foxx or Alvin Bragg or Larry Krasner. Just the same way we talk about criminals here, Americans here legally, is how we're talking about migrants, the people who are here illegally or under dubious legal conditions. Preventable crime is the point. Punishing repeat offenders is the point. Appropriate punishment under the law. There's some punishment that's appropriate for American citizens, and depending on the crime, it may be the same punishment for people here illegally, or it may be a deportation, which of course is not part of the punishment regime for an American citizen. But we're talking about preventable crime. Don't let these goofs take you down the rabbit hole of the statistics. We're talking about actual stories and specific people who were victimized, like Laken Riley, since she is top of mind and appropriately so. And it could have been prevented. There were multiple opportunities to remove the person who murdered her, allegedly. And it didn't happen. That is system failure. That is policy failure. That is political leadership failure. And I don't care what percentage of this group is doing it versus another group. That's not the point.
But also, too, I just want to get this off my chest. I was at Montrose Beach yesterday because it was 70 degrees out, and there's a shelter right across the street, and everybody was there. So I'm like, oh, let's meet our new neighbors. First of all, Dan, we're going to need to get them swimsuits because all the kids are running around in their underwear because they don't have swimsuits yet. So we need to buy them swimsuits, The food we bought them, they were feeding to seagulls. Everybody has their camera, like, okay, lindo, like, look how pretty Chicago is. And I met this group from Venezuela. They're very scary, but they're trying to pet the dog. So I was like, muy peligroso. This one's not nice. And then they left, and guess what they did, Dan? They left all their garbage there on the beach. Watching them walk away, I'm like, no, like, hola, oye, ven aquí, por favor, like, basura. No. And walk away.
I'm glad you got to practice your Spanish.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're going to live here, just respect the land. It was so grotesque to watch that because there's hundreds of them. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Well, polling is out over the weekend. New York Times, Siena poll, Wall Street Journal had a poll as well. Both find CBS had a poll to find Trump up between 2 and 5 points. He's up in the swing states. New York Times, Siena poll has him 23% of the black vote. I mean, if he gets 23% of the black vote, then
that's
going to be, as he likes to say, the victory will be too big to rig.
Yeah.
But these are registered voters. I don't like those surveys. It's not likely voters. It's a snapshot in time. There's a long way to go. But certainly the numbers are encouraging. And, no less a establishment mouthpiece than David Brooks from the New York Times, speaking of the Times. He's getting the message. He's getting the message in a way that a lot on the left are not. So you go ahead and you give us the obstructionist Republican cover story, and you say we just need more money and I don't have the authority. When the President of the United States says I don't have the authority, sort of like he really comes across as impotent. And I know Joe's a tiger in the sack. I know he is just a bundle of energy. But he comes across as impotent, and it's just not going to play when you have recent instances of presidents taking executive action on these very same issues. And you have congressional action, frankly, on this issue, too. It's called H.R. 2, and that was passed by the House, but they don't want to talk about that legislative action. They just want to talk about their legislative action, which I understand, but don't say that the House Republicans haven't given you a blueprint when they did. They passed it in the form of a legislative measure, which is what they're supposed to do. So you can run with that, but it's not going to work. And again, I'll cede my time to Obama's favorite Republican, which is to say a Democrat, David Brooks.
Only 28% of Americans support Joe Biden's immigration policy. They prefer Trump's policy over Biden's policy by like infinite percent. And so Trump has the country on his side when it comes to this border. And the simple fact is the Democrats have been sort of out of touch on this issue. In 2016, you had large numbers of candidates in a Democratic primary raise their hand and say they were for decriminalizing the border. That was, compared to where America is, that's far off. Second, the Biden policies just haven't worked. Our asylum system was created after World War II to help those with extreme persecution. That was a long time ago. Right now, there are like 40 million people in the world who are facing that kind of persecution. We can't take all those people. And we can't have a policy that prioritizes the people who are breaking law rather than people who are applying through the asylum system according to law. So to me, the issue right now is not necessarily immigration. It's chaos. And so Biden has to do the thing which I think the British have done, which is to say, we're going to stop the asylum process until we can digest all the people who are already in the system. And that will at least try to impose some order, because if there's just chaos, it's going to be just bad news for Biden.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. David Brooks calling for a halt to asylum applications. Wow.
That's huge, as Trump would say.
But he gets it. He gets what's happening.
I know. He knows what the
I tell you, it's almost, I mean, the problem with Biden is he's completely a company man. He always has been. But the company has undergone a bit of a shakeup in leadership. It's led by the new Marxists. That is where, as said innumerable times, that is where critical mass is. That's where the power resides in that party. And so you can't get away with saying the things that you used to say back in the heady days when it was Obama and Biden, those first two Joe Obama terms. the positions that they took just, 10, 15 years ago, they're unacceptable. Unacceptable. You can't say them. You can't have that position. And so what do? You can't walk away from your base. But your base has so, as David Brooks said, your base is so inside their own heads on this, and they're so ideological. He didn't say that, but I'll add it. They're so ideological that they don't appreciate and they don't care where 80% of America is. 80% plus in some instances related to border security. They don't care. And if they have to sacrifice Joe Biden at the altar of their ideology, they're happy to do it because they're playing the long game. And the long game is we've got Biden in here now. We want the open border. We want to get as many of those 40 million people that David Brooks referenced as possible because we'll hamstring a Trump presidency. It'll be more chaos. Will engender more pandemonium, violence. Will disintegrate America further under Trump than we could under Biden. We don't have to give the pretense of governing. And on the other side of the next 4 years, we usher in the Marxist paradise. I mean, I think that is the mindset of the radical, ideological power structure that has completely subsumed whatever you think the Democrat Party used to be. And I think if you look at it through that prism of the people who are in charge, what their disposition is, what their belief system is, what their ultimate aims are, then it starts to come into focus. Bill, the Northwest Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I think the point is all of them are criminals. They entered the country illegally. Some of them are violent criminals. So what they need to do is they need to leave the country. They need to be deported. They need to get in line and do it legally. That's the only answer to this.
Well, but I know, and we could say that all day long. Right. Like nobody knows this. We could say that all day long. They don't agree with you. You know, the people that have the power, they do not agree with you. Is that not resonating? Why doesn't Joe Biden just do this obvious thing? Because he doesn't want to.
Right.
Because that is not whose interests he's serving.
Or if he wants to, he may do it before his big address on Wednesday.
We'll
I
see.
doubt it's going to happen.
We'll see if he comes up with anything that presents a pivot, modest pivot. I don't know. And then you'll have to then follow up, of course, to check the implementation. And by the way, this whole everybody comes here illegally is illegal. It's sort of a redundancy, right? It's tautology. But I say again, think about it differently a little bit. Look at it again a little bit differently. I think it helps to generate understanding. If I'm invited to come in, am I here illegally? If I'm invited by the President of the United States, by law enforcement to come in, if they turn a blind eye when I sneak through the border in the San Diego sector, right? Am I illegal, or have they just suspended the rule of law for me?
Well, they want you to download an app, Dan, and then apply for asylum through the app.
Well, I understand that the app is part of the way to facilitate the relocation of all these people entering into the country. Yeah. And not to mention what else it may be intended to do in terms of being able to essentially a database of these individuals, to keep track of these individuals. I'd like to know more about the DHS interaction with these individuals. You know, we've got a lot of questions about not just NGOs, but the bureaucrats in these massive government agencies and what they are or are not doing, which direction they are or are not pointing people like those entering this country under some sort of asylum claim and milling about for, how many ever years, perhaps forever. That's certainly been the case in some cases, hasn't it? Len in Highland Park.
Good morning. I caddied Saturday, earliest time ever in Chicago for me. They're milking it for as long as they can milk it. If they win in November, look out. The Democrats don't manage things well, but they do elections better than anybody. And I mean, he might sign the draft to stop the border crossings, but it's all relative if they win, because it'll go back to the same, and it'll be an absolute disaster.
Thanks for the call. Right. I mean, if he did move executive actions in the direction of Trump, if Biden did that, he announced that at the State of the Union, if he reversed some of what he, or redid what he undid, some of what he undid, right, you know that's a pause. You know where their attitude is. Brad in West Loop.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the January 6ers were invited, not invited, but they were let in by the Capitol Police. So, and then they prosecuted them. So there's a parallel there that's really interesting.
Well, it is interesting. Thanks for the call. But we are suspending the rule of law and law enforcement when it comes to people entering this country illegally, right? That's an invitation, not an invasion, as I keep saying. I mean, unless you want to say, like Trump saying it's a Biden's invasion, he's orchestrating the invasion. I mean, that's a fair point. Eduardo in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Dan and Amy. Mexico's having a water crisis, so you're getting these illegals come in through Mexico, not exactly sanitary. In the future, there needs to be a moratorium, and they got to get a COVID vaccine when they come in, if they do a worker guest on the future.
Thanks for the call. COVID vaccine.
COVID, what?
What's COVID? You mean the flu?
The flu, right. The CDC came out Friday and said, no, wait, you don't have to quarantine for 5 days, even though we're still doing it here. And my other job, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, now they said that it's, it should be considered like the flu.
Right.
Oh, really? What we said 4 years ago?
Yeah, right. Exactly. The CDC is
finally waking up.
2 to 3 years behind what we all understood to be true. But you wanted, not our listening audience, generally speaking, but the argument from the other side is to completely put your lives, your hopes, your dreams, your lives in the hands of the experts at places like the CDC. 3 years after what we all, the laymen recognize, not to mention a lot of medical experts that were not in the CDC's employ. They finally begrudgingly admit it. Everything is begrudging. When it comes to admitting wrong, first of all, they never say they're wrong, and it's always begrudging, and it's always years after everybody's already sort of living the reality that they understood well before the government wanted to concede it.
But ask your employer or your HR director, are we still going to do this 5 days quarantine if you get COVID? Because I think the CTU has some deal going on. But anyhow, all right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, the most depraved fundraiser at an Oklahoma grade school in, I don't know, the Western world, 6:06.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Record high temperatures possible today. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
She's the first woman to ever win a Republican presidential primary. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and Nikki Haley did it in Washington, D.C., where only about 2,000 people voted. She got 63% of those votes and 19 GOP delegates.
And even though this is her only win so far in the primary season, she's been vowing to stay in the race through at least Super Tuesday. That's coming up this week with 15 states and the territory of American Samoa holding nominating contests.
Fox's Jill Nato. North Dakota will hold GOP caucuses today. Governor Doug Burgum, who dropped out of the race, is pushing for a Trump victory. Now, the former president posted on Truth Social he purposely stayed away from the D.C. primary, a swamp with no upside, saying he won big over the weekend in contests in Idaho, Michigan, and Missouri, calling it complete destruction of a very weak opponent. The Supreme Court may issue a key ruling affecting a Super Tuesday state, whether the former president can be on the Colorado ballot. They've scheduled a decision released today that is not typical.
We don't know which one, but the court also almost always issues decisions on days when justices are scheduled to take the bench. And this time, the justices will not be doing that. They're not scheduled to return to the courtroom until March 15th, raising speculation that a ruling on the Colorado case will be handed down.
Fox's Madeline Rivera, decisions in Colorado and in Maine and Illinois to take the Trump name off the ballot claim the former president is constitutionally disqualified for leading an insurrection with the Capitol riot. Now, he denies that and calls it election interference. Vice President Harris will meet with a member of the Israeli War Cabinet the day after saying at a civil rights event in Selma, Alabama, there must be a ceasefire in Gaza now to spare Palestinian civilians
from what is clearly a humanitarian catastrophe.
Late last night at Cape Canaveral,
3, 2,
SpaceX launched the latest NASA mission, sending 3 American astronauts on a rush into the International Space Station. America's listening to Fox News.
53 degrees in Chicago this morning, and on a Monday, it is 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. One teen is dead, another injured after a shooting downtown on Saturday night.
The entire Walgreens parking lot was filled with young people, anywhere from late teens to mid-20s. They were traveling around and around the block. The police told us to lock the doors, so we did.
The victim who died identified as a 17-year-old Jeremy Smith. One person was arrested. 2 Chicago police officers recovering after someone shot into their vehicle Sunday morning in the Humboldt Park neighborhood. The officer was struck in his vest. The other suffered facial injuries from broken glass. An 18-year-old male was also found shot, taken to Stroger Hospital in serious condition. The cause of a large fire at a Westside recycling complex Saturday remains under investigation this morning. Fire burned for about 10 hours. 2 warehouses tied to Universal scrap metals.
Because of the way the building is built, almost like a fortress, very hard to get water on all the components in there. They have piles and piles of copper, 2 million pounds.
More than 120 firefighters battled that blaze. Valparaiso University is announcing a list of programs that are being considered for possible cuts. Of the 28 programs revealed, 18 are undergraduate, 10 are graduate. The Bachelor of Music, for example, in all concentrations, as well as the theology major and minor, are among the programs under review. The department changes are part of the university's strategic plan released back in the fall of 2022 after years of declining enrollment and the closure of its law school. Indiana Senate Bill 1 is headed to the desk of Governor Eric Holcomb. It will require third-grade students to be held back if they are deficient in reading. The literacy overhaul bill calls for the statewide iRead test to be done in the second grade instead of third. Thousands of Chicagoans thawing out after yesterday's polar plunge.
And the money raised today helps us fund trips, medals, transportation, cooking classes, uniforms and transportation all across the city.
Weather was unseasonably warm, but Lake Michigan still frigid off the shores of North Avenue Beach. The Bulls take on Sacramento tonight. The Blackhawks visit the Avalanche. Cubs lost to Cleveland 5-3. White Sox lost. Cubs won over Cleveland 5-3. The Sox lost to the LA Angels 3-1. And award-winning NFL journalist Chris Mortensen has died at the age of 72. He joined ESPN in 1991. Mort was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer in 2016. He stepped away from ESPN last year. The news, a service of the Daybreak Insider podcast. Hear the latest reporting and analysis of the day's most important stories each weekday morning on the Daybreak Insider podcast. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk explains why the left hates religion.
They hate Christianity because they do not want to acknowledge that there might be a transcendent order above themselves that governs the universe. It inherently makes them less powerful when they acknowledge that there is a sovereign God above them. It's humbling.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
You are a creator. You've been inspired to design and craft incredible works of art. But nothing derails you like not having the right materials you need to get the project done. K&S Precision Metals prides itself on having the right metal pieces for you to be a maker. With a huge array of metal products for every part of your project, from beginning design to the finished product, K&S Precision Metals provides brass, aluminum, copper, stainless steel tubing, wire, and more. K&S Precision Metals only supplies the highest quality metal items. Each piece is pure metal with no lead or fillers. You can feel good that your project is made with metal manufactured right here in the USA. K&S Precision Metals are used by the medical and movie industries, artists, crafters, engineers, and educators. Family owned and operated in Chicago for over 76 years. Most orders are shipped within a day. Order direct at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. K&S Precision Metals. Our materials, your creations.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I'm 76. I feel great with it, and I won't stop ever taking it.
I'm 67, and I'm pretty active. I go out in the fields and work, and I noticed a difference. I take it in the morning, but I've been taking it, religiously. My body seems to like it.
If it wasn't good, I wouldn't be doing it for 23 years. So it works good.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Stevenson settling into your typical morning Monday delay. Your brake lights are on. Pulaski all the way to Kedzie this morning. Bishop Ford cleaning up an accident. Outbound right at 8094. It's on the ramp from the southbound Bishop Ford to the eastbound side of 8094. Traffic is being forced off the Reagan I-88 right at Peace Road because of a serious accident and investigation. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Holly Holdren.
Mostly cloudy today, breezy this afternoon, high 73. A couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms late evening on, which can bring flooding, downpours, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado. Low 42. Little rain early tomorrow. I'm Holly Holdren on AM 560, The Answer.
53 at O'Hare, 56 at Midway, fog, and 45 in Aurora. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Question for you out there. Would you allow your 14-year-old daughter to lick the feet and suck the toes of an adult
Ew.
to raise money for charity? I'm not kidding.
Please tell me you're not. The answer would be a big fat no, and I'm sure Mike Scott agrees. Yes, because he has a daughter that age.
Deer Creek School District in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Edmond, Oklahoma. Oh, isn't that where Bob Tway's from? I think that's where the Tways are from. Anyway, I digress. Deer Creek High School in Edmond, part of an assembly called Clash of the Classes that students paid to attend to raise money for, I don't know who they're raising money for, NAMBLA?
Hey.
Okay. The volunteers paid to be there, and there's video of them. I mean, they look like grade schoolers, but apparently they're high schoolers, 9th and 12th grade.
Yeah, freshmen.
There's video of them lying on their bellies on a gym floor with people had their bare feet outstretched, and they're licking their feet. The kids are licking the feet of adults and sucking on their toes and so forth.
Oh, God.
I mean, you have to see the video.
Did you tweet this out? Where can I
just did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Hold on.
It's
Last to know.
The school district, amid some less than positive reactions once this video was posted. This is the school district's response. I mean, who is in charge of some of these schools? I really love to know.
I'm sorry, too, but did the parents even know that was going on? Because I would never have allowed my kid to go to school that day, and I probably would yank them from the school.
All participants in the assembly were students who signed up for the games they played ahead of time. No Deer Creek faculty or staff participated in any of the games during this Clash of Classes assembly. Oh, great. I'm glad that, my 14-year-old son wasn't sucking the toe of his algebra teacher. Anyway, many dedicated students gave generously of their personal time to achieve this momentous accomplishment, which will serve communities beyond the boundaries of Deer Creek. We would like to thank all the patrons, businesses, and sponsors who contributed to the success of this year's wonderful week of fundraising. Maybe we should bring the idiot circles back into the schools just to keep people away from these sorts of activities.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. Whatever happened to selling chocolate bars for a fundraiser?
How about a 5K?
Yeah, 5K would be. That sounds fantastic. This is disgusting. It's perverted. It's sexual in nature, and I can't watch.
Just ask Dick Morris or Rex Ryan.
Hey-o, too soon.
Really, the thinking here, and the school is, completely unembarrassed, unshamed by the video that was posted, necessitating their response for context. It actually was held, the event was held, this fundraiser, to raise money for Not Your Average Joe, a coffee shop in Oklahoma City that employs people with physical or mental disabilities. And that's wonderful. And I appreciate the Not Your Average Joe coffee shop, but the source of the source of the money raised is irrelevant, obviously.
Well, people
what's
online
relevant
are like,
is what you're seeing in this video.
Well, people online are. You forgot to mention that they raised $152,000. And then another person they're not sucking the toes of their adult teachers.
So
it doesn't matter. They're sucking on toes of adults.
So we raised $152,000 for a good cause. Well, why don't we just prostitute the kids then? Fully prostitute them. Probably raise more money, right?
This looks like human trafficking.
Turn them over to, Ghislaine Maxwell and friends. I love the utilitarian arguments. They raise money for a good cause.
Shave your head for a good cause.
I mean, and people like Taylor Lorenz and that conversation she had with the Libs of TikTok founder, Kaya Ratchik last week. Of course, sexual education in schools, and pictures of gay sex, graphic this and graphic that, and you start them early and distribute everything, and they're going to do it anyway. They're going to suck toes anyway, right? Might as well do it for a good cause.
Well, the poor kids, they're young and they're dumb, but the adults that are allowing the kids to suck on their toes, too, shame on them.
It's
God, this is so gross. It's like pedophiles have foot fetishes.
What? Well, I mean, Deer Creek High School, I mean, talk about a clarion call to the pedos around kids.
Text message: Dan and Amy arrest every adult involved, including the person who scheduled this grotesque event.
Can you imagine? I mean, this is clearly on school property because, like I said, it's a gym floor. You can tell from the video, and so the leadership of that school and the school board and there had to be dozens and dozens, if not more, adults that were aware this was going to happen, and the response is, congratulations on a successful event. The judgment both pre and post.
This is Oklahoma.
It's astounding. Well, right, that's exactly my point. Oh, it doesn't happen here. Right. In Indiana, you had a couple who had their child taken away by child services because they wouldn't indulge the mutilation of their child. In Indiana. You think you live somewhere that's immune from larger culture? I don't know why people believe that. Oh, it doesn't happen here. Really? I'm sure that meek pro-life protester didn't think that he was going to get a SEAL Team 6 raid in his little rural house in Pennsylvania either. It doesn't happen here.
Got one online. They were saying it's been done in previous years at the school. Oh, really? And that the kids came up with the idea. Oh, you're going to let the kids run the place.
Sure, of course. I mean, you can't say no to a kid. I don't want to break their heart.
And the parents
Kids are in
didn't raise a
charge.
fuss back then. Yeah, I don't know if the parents actually knew what was going on, but there's video of it now. And where's the apology? Where's the heads rolling for this?
Jim on the south side.
Hey, how you doing? You know what? Amy said something about chocolate bars being sold. Well, you know what? The new movement is you can't have chocolate. It's bad for the environment and it's bad for your health, and so you can't do those things. But we're just going to clean people's toes by having kids stuck on them. That sounds like a very good strategy with the new left.
Very eco-friendly. Thanks for the call,
touched
Jim.
my toes. Ew.
There was a report that they were licking peanut butter off feet. I don't know if that's true or not.
It doesn't matter. It's disgusting. Don't lick anything off anybody. No touching. What about the no touching? Like coaches and teachers can't hug students anymore. And now they're letting them lick their feet in Edmond, Oklahoma. Okay. Yeah.
Larry Elmhurst.
I'm proud to be. You know what? I got a one chip challenge here at where I work, but nobody will do it for $50. You know that hot chip. But anyway, I would pay $100 just to watch some. This one guy at work has got the yellow toenails, of fungus under them. I'd pay $100 to see these kids do that.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
I see them with his shoes off.
Ew. What is he?
Why does he have his shoes off?
Because he has to wear steel toes when he changes and he gets to work.
Oh, I see.
But it's
sakes.
You see him in the locker room.
Thanks for the call, Larry. Yeah. Encounters with feet in your workplace. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line.
I don't ever want to. Do you have long toenails?
No.
Okay.
I do Pilates, so I have to,
Oh.
I have to be properly, manage my cuticles, or otherwise I'm sure my Pilates instructor would bounce me. Carl in West Virginia.
Good morning. Hey, first off, this time of year, the Girl Scouts got us on the chocolate. Those, us thin mint addicts, got to have our fix.
Oh, yeah, Girl Scouts cookies. Yeah, no question. Mm-hmm.
But here's your tell that it was unacceptable. They could have made millions, probably 2-3 million, if they'd have only live streamed it on OnlyFans.
Yeah, why not? Right?
Oh, God,
it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Carl.
It's for the children, Dan. It's for the children. Yeah.
Kentucky State Senator related story. Kentucky State Senator Karen Berg, during debate on legislation in Kentucky, that the sponsored legislation that would prohibit importing or possessing child sex dolls. You think that'd be pretty straightforward? Mm-hmm. State Senator Karen Berg, Kentucky.
Remember her
I'm
name.
sorry to always have questions.
The AI part of this bill, I don't have any questions about, but I was completely unfamiliar with child sex dolls, so I had, of course, to Google it last night. Was a little scared to put it in my search engine, but I did, and apparently there is research on the subject. Not much, but there are what they call MAPs, minor attracted persons. And the limited amount of research that's done on these dolls, guys, suggests that they actually, for people who are attracted to minors, that these dolls actually decrease their proclivity to go out and attack children. That it actually gives them a release that makes them less likely to go outside of their home. And what was interesting is the research did not support the same conclusions for people who were adult attracted using dolls. That did not diminish their proclivity to engage other people, but for those with the... So I'm just a little concerned that, and like I say, the research is not very good. It is not comprehensive, but the research that is out there is conclusive, equivocally conclusive.
I actually disagree, and I'll let Representative Deese
thank
respond
you.
if she'd like. We've got expert testimony who shared testimony by letter with this committee several years ago when I filed the bill, and gave an updated letter to the representative in support of her bill, which says the exact opposite.
So State Senator Karen Burke, she's a Democrat.
Kentucky.
She's a Democrat, though.
Yeah, I know.
There's that.
Obviously. Crazy.
The research is not very good, and there's not much of it, but it's also simultaneously conclusive. Because I Googled it last night.
She was worried about putting her search engines on.
I Googled it last night, and I, gave it 30 seconds of thought, which is why I can say things that are completely oxymoronic with an emphasis on moronic. It's limited and not comprehensive, but it is definitely conclusive. And here's the other thing. Just the utilitarian nature of this. This is that's what sentimental barbarism sounds like. You have adults, so many adults, more than I could have ever imagined, really, these days, in positions of authority that have no ability to critically think. I mean, they're not even close. Not even close. I'll tell you what, instead of those dolls, why don't you just send the pedos from Kentucky to Deer Creek High School in Edmond, Oklahoma?
That is sexual abuse now that I'm looking at it again, even though I didn't want to look at it. The superintendent for the state of Oklahoma says, this is disgusting. We're cleaning up this filth in Oklahoma schools, and our agency is investigating.
Tony in Riverside.
Good morning. So when I heard this story, my first thing, and Amy, you can relate to this, as a mom and as a woman, I always look up to see if they have children. And tragically, this woman had a 23-year-old transgender son who committed suicide. Now, with that being said, I think that we need to do psych tests on anybody because something's wrong there. Anybody that's going to run for office is going to have a say-so about any of our children. That's all I've got.
Thanks for the call, Tony. It's just astounding, the judgment calls here and the quality of thinking, the line of argumentation or advocacy. Carl Sagan, billions and billions of stars, the great astronomer Carl Sagan, in his last interview before his passing with Charlie Rose, as it turned out, back in 1996, he had this to say about science and skepticism. I mean, this has so much application, but it's really a commentary on being thoughtful and reasoned and measured.
But what's the danger of all this? I mean, this is not the thing that...
There's two kinds of dangers. One is what I just talked about, that we've arranged a society based on science and technology in which nobody understands anything about science and technology. And this combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces. I mean, who is running the science and technology in a democracy if the people don't know anything about it? And the second reason that I'm worried about this is that science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson lay great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us.
Yeah, ignorance and power is a pretty volatile cocktail, isn't it? And it's not just with respect to the President of the United States. It's your local school superintendent, school board members, mayor, county officials, all the stuff that's not sexy and that's not in the headlines on a daily basis, so we don't talk about it. There's sort of the anonymous who have power and also are beset with ignorance in Edmond, Oklahoma, or in the Kentucky legislature. I mean, holy hell. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen this Sunday for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
All right. It's a new year and the opportunity for a fresh start. So you'll get set those familiar personal goals, like a healthy diet, drink less, start a workout routine. But what about your business goals? Do they match your personal ones? How about spending more time with your family? What about increasing your savings for the vacation home you've always wanted? Maybe this is the year you've set out to train the next generation to take over or create that coveted exit strategy. No matter what your business resolutions are, Turnkey is all about helping you to fulfill them. It's time to make your business work for the life that you want. Turnkey will help you turn around any area of complexity to help you meet your goals. From fresh ideas about mitigating taxes or ways to become more efficient and profitable, to making this the year to finally upgrade your technology so your business runs more efficiently. Turnkey will make your business resolutions soar in 2024. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
AMAC is the Association of Mature American Citizens, an organization who's not only dedicated to America's seniors, but is vital for conservatives of all ages. AMAC stands out by not only advocating for senior issues, but also by pushing for conservative values that affect us all. By joining, you're not just supporting our senior citizens, you're part of a movement defending our freedoms and securing our nation's future. Plus, membership brings you exclusive benefits like discounts on travel, dining, entertainment, and special insurance rates. Regardless of your age, if you're driven to preserve freedom, AMAC welcomes you. This is about uniting youthful vigor with wisdom of experience in our quest for conservative principles. Sign up now at amac.us/fight And for a limited time, get a free gift membership for someone who shares your love for our great nation. Don't miss out on this chance to make a difference with AMAC. Join today at amac.us/fight and extend the invitation to a friend or family member for free.
This holiday season, did you visit your crawl space to retrieve the Christmas tree and decorations? Are you one who wouldn't venture down there on a bet? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer from Permaseal, and if you're one of the latter, I can't blame you. We've seen some pretty nasty crawl spaces full of mold, mildew, and crawly things. Certainly not a place to store your family treasures. Well, this year, let Permaseal wrap your crawl space up in our Clean Space encapsulation system. Clean Space will transform your dirty, dark crawl space into a bright, clean, valuable storage area where you can confidently store even your most treasured ornaments and mementos. As a bonus, you'll find you'll have warmer floors and cleaner air upstairs. What a wonderful holiday present for the entire family and a great investment in your home. For a free inspection and estimate, call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
Best for being better, Permaseal.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk dollars and cents, markets and regulation with Scott the Cow Guy Shellady at 6:36.
Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Partly cloudy skies this morning. And Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley has picked up her first win of the 2024 primary season.
If the people want to see me go forward, they'll show it. They'll show it in their votes. They'll show it in their donations. They'll show it in the fact that they want us to continue to go forward.
The former South Carolina governor garnered about 63% of the vote, and on Sunday became the first woman to win a GOP primary in U.S. history. It's possible former President Trump's ballot battle in Colorado could be decided in just a few hours. The court plans to release at least one ruling as soon as 9 a.m. Many believe this could be whether he's eligible to run for office. President Biden will deliver his State of the Union address Thursday, where he'll play up the work of his administration, primarily on things like infrastructure. Senator Marco Rubio says the president needs to also signal a reversal of policy on the border and use executive orders to try and end the border crisis.
Well, the realistic path forward, if we want to end this crisis, begins by Joe Biden reversing the executive orders that he made. Every single one of them was designed to reverse a Trump policy.
Rubio adding that if the president would have already done so, he maybe would have supported funding for Ukraine. NASA and SpaceX celebrating the successful launch of the Crew 8 mission to the ISS.
Engines full power and liftoff of NASA Crew 8. Go Falcon, go SpaceX, and go NASA.
SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavour on top of Falcon 9 booster took off from the Kennedy Space Center complex, carrying 3 NASA astronauts and a Russian cosmonaut. Early voting expands today in Chicago and the suburbs. In Chicago, early voting will now expand to all 50 wards. Election sites in Cook County and other counties will open up today for the March 19 primary. Early voting also kicks off in DuPage, Kane, Lake, and McHenry counties. One teen is dead, another injured after a shooting downtown in the South Loop on Saturday night. It happened during a gathering of hundreds of people in a parking lot near West Roosevelt Road and Canal.
Anytime, I think there are a lot of resources in play that will help people to do that as we go into these summer months, begin to think about more around our anti-violence and also some of our healing initiatives that help people deal with the trauma that they face in life.
Alderman Jason Irvin, after that event, the victim identified as a 17-year-old Jeremy Smith. Bulls at Sacramento tonight. The Blackhawks set to visit the Avalanche. The Cubs scored a pair in the 7th in a win over Cleveland, while the White Sox in spring ball lost to the LA Angels and take on Arizona today. The news, a service of Audible. Come to Audible and discover the best selection of audiobooks without exception. Bestsellers, new releases, plus podcast and exclusive Audible originals. You'll find everything you love all in one place. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka says we can't afford 4 more years.
If crooked Joe Biden and his thugs win in 2024, the worst is yet to come.
It's a sobering warning from the president. If you thought the last 3 years were bad, imagine 4 more of them.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Imagine what your future looks like. Is the picture a little blurry? Hey, it's Sean Thompson here for Alpha Wealth Group. When we look ahead, we're visualizing where we want to be, and for retirement, that can be hard without a written financial plan. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help you bring your retirement picture into focus. For decades, Tom has been crafting customized financial strategies. His goal is to help you protect your savings, grow your wealth, and create an income strategy you cannot outlive. If you're nearing or already in retirement, it's time to get your plan on paper. So bring your readers and let's take a look at it closely. Call Tom at 630-934-1855 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. There is no cost. There is no obligation. This is a chance to get a clearer view of your retirement. The number again is 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Has your commercial building steel roof seen better days? Winter can cause ice damage to wind damage, but no damage is too tough for custom construction systems. CCS Contracting has over 20 years' experience repairing and installing steel roofs. They're highly experienced and skilled at finding and solving problems on industrial and commercial roofs. CCS is also partnered with a public adjusting firm that's very good at contesting claims. Many times, claims that are turned down by insurance companies can turn into a new roof with CCS. Call today for an inspection and free estimate on a roof repair or new steel roof. 815-871-7835. Or visit CustomSteelRoofing.com. If you suspect roof damage, Custom Construction Systems is the one call that does it all. Repairs are their specialty, plus membrane and new steel roof installation, and they can help with an insurance claim. Learn more at CustomConstructionSystems.com. That's CustomConstructionSystems.com. From start to finish, they get the job done.
If you haven't switched to MediShare yet, 2 big reasons to at least consider it and why it makes so much sense right now. Number one is inflation, which is just affecting everything. It just makes sense to say, okay, where can I actually save? Well, you can save a lot in one fell swoop if you switch to MediShare. The typical family saves $500 a month. Secondly, your conscience. MediShare members aren't forced to pay for things they don't support or believe in, and that's a big deal for a lot of people right now. They want their money to actually help people. And one more reason, you can trust MediShare. It's been the gold standard for healthcare sharing for more than 30 years. It works, and members love it too. It has double the member satisfaction rating compared to health insurance. So now's a great time to consider making the switch, and they are very easy to talk to. MediShare has great customer service. You can call now and get a price within 2 minutes. Here's the number. It's 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code RADIO.
6:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We start on the rails, however, with irregular service and delays on the UP Northwest line and the Metro Rock Island line right now. The Reagan I-88 eastbound is completely shut down. Between Peace Road to before Watson Road, traffic is being forced off at Peace Road due to a serious accident and ongoing investigation. Bishop Ford jamming into the Ryan Merge this morning. The Ike stop and go already inbound between Mannheim and Des Plaines Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly cloudy by the afternoon, breezy, and a high of 73. Cloudy, rain, maybe a thunderstorm overnight, and a low of 42. Partly cloudy and 52 right now. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul introduced an amendment to a short-term funding measure at the end of last week designed to prevent the quote-unquote government shutdown, which, of course, we know is the furlough of a small percentage of the federal workforce that ultimately turns out to be paid vacation. The amendment, interesting. It harkens back to a facility the Fed set up during the COVID era, which the CDC has officially closed the books on now that they've said treat it like the flu finally. But it also projects into the future, a future in which states like, well, Rand Paul's home state, Kentucky, and Illinois will not be able to pay their public sector pension obligations. Take a listen to Rand.
Mr. President, here we go again. Senators of both parties will once again kick the can down the road. Our national debt is over $34 trillion and growing at an alarming rate. The majority of the Senate meets today to vote once again for more deficit spending. We now know that the Federal Reserve is not only buying the federal debt, they're buying the debt of profligate, large spending states like California, New York, and Illinois. My amendment would make it explicitly illegal for the Federal Reserve to buy the debt of these big spending, profligate individual states. It was never intended that Congress give the Fed the power, and we should make sure that it is explicit. The Federal Reserve cannot buy the debt of individual states. I urge a yes vote.
Mm-hmm. You won't be surprised to learn that amendment failed. And the spending goes on, and the Fed's omnipotence when it comes to buying debt continues unabated. For more on this and other matters economic, Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 Chicago time, as well as the Cow Guy Close, 1 to 1:30, both at RFD TV. That's where you'll find Scott the Cow Guy when he's not with us. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
What about Rand Paul's amendment there? I mean, Illinois, I think we accessed that Fed facility that was set up during COVID to the tune of about $3.2 billion. Now, the Fed says the states like Illinois pay that all back, but I'd like to see the receipts.
Yeah, well, if the Fed can't buy the debt, I mean, remember that game Asteroids? There was that hyperspace button. I think we would go hyperspace into being bankrupt a lot faster, because if this debt was put out in the open market, nobody would want to pay what the Fed's paying, which would mean the interest on that debt that these states need would be prohibitively high, usurious, and then everything would be over a lot faster. I mean, you're exactly right.'s exactly right. We're going to be at $35 trillion in June as far as the national. How about this? This is even better. Last quarter, we grew in dollar terms to the tune of $330 billion. All right, in one quarter. But it cost us in deficit spending $830 billion to buy that growth. We're not even getting 1-to-1. We get it costs us about $2.40 of deficit spending to buy $1 worth of GDP. It's absolutely insane. And as I don't know who said it, but as bankruptcy happens, it just starts slowly, and all of a sudden it happens all at once. Yeah, that is where we're going. I mean, it's undeniable. It's undeniable.
Well, but specifically, but specifically with the Fed, then, I mean, again, we once upon a time, I guess we were poo-pooing the modern monetary theorists, but they seem to have won the day. I mean, certainly the Senate, rejecting Rand Paul's amendment, says, no, let's give the Fed the tools they need in the toolbox to help the states, and let's continue to allow for these manipulations that you're describing, because what's the harm?
Well, the harm is we'll be bankrupt. I mean, we'll lose I mean, it's.
We are now. It doesn't.
I know it is.
So what?
Right,
we
you're
are
exactly
now.
right.
So what?
Right. Okay, so then I'll argue the fact that Grant Paul was just sitting around managing a bunch of people that wanted to decide where they put the deck chairs in the Titanic. I mean, that's all they're doing. You're right. We're structurally bankrupt right now, just like the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. And nobody wants to talk about it because it's not electable. You're not going to get elected to office next year if you try to do something about it.
Well, but nobody.
Will be done about it. Whether.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is it's always difficult to pin people down. Well, nobody wants to talk about it because nobody needs to talk about it because there's not enough pain being inflicted. So what does the pain look like? Everything's hunky dory. Look at Bitcoin's at 65,000 and Dow's at record high. So what's the big deal? Well, all this talk about it's money we don't have to pay back. It's not a big deal. The deficits, but we've been doing it for so long that we're inert to it. So where's the pain? There's no pain.
Well, the pain is when we become structurally bankrupt, and that is because we won't get anybody to be able to buy our bonds because the bonds that they bought are going to be paid back with dollars that are worth nothing. That's how we're going to actually default on our debt. And when that happens, and it's going to happen at some point in time, this cannot keep happening. I mean, right now, our economy is held up by NVIDIA stock and Taylor Swift, okay? You just mentioned a few things that are... You just mentioned a few things. Every asset class is outperforming again. Everything's just fine, except for the fact that we're massively in debt. And we'll keep Congress in session overnight, and everybody's going to feel sorry for them when they decide that, hey, they need more deficit spending to give to other countries. I mean, it's insane. We're actually selling bonds to China to take that money and give to other countries. We're out of our minds.
All right. So with this debt looming, well, obviously it's here, but will millennials get Social Security? Will you get Social Security?
I'm planning on not getting any. I think it will be means tested. It will go away for anybody at a certain level of income or net worth. You will not get the money you put away for the last 40 years. No. So
that presumes some sort of major economic calamity because that's the only thing that would prompt that sort of structural reform.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, okay, maybe I'll give you that. But on the other flip side of that is it's already gone anyway. I mean, it's not there.
Well, I understand.
So they don't even have
it's
it.
Our money. I mean,
but okay, it's our money. What does that even mean? I mean, it's just it's our money, but it's like right. You stole my money. That was my money. I know I stole it. So now it's mine.
Right.
Now I have it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, there has to be a reckoning, Dan. It cannot keep going on forever. You cannot be. We will get to a point where we do.
Well, wait. Can we opt out of Social Security?
That's like, can I pay more in income taxes? Well, sure you can, but no, who's going to do that? You're going to do that at enough of a scale out of some sort of selflessness when everybody's attitude is that's my money because it is your money. But I'm going to do this. Then you have the free rider problem. I mean, that's not how that's not how it's going to go down.
Well, yeah.
But the only way this goes down the way that you say, Scott, in my view, in anything near the short term, is if you believe that America's status as a reserve currency was truly in danger, and I don't believe that.
I think it is. I mean, there's only been I think there's been 5 reserve currencies over the last 500 years or whatever that may be. It started with Portugal, and then obviously the last one was Great Britain. And they all have a rough time horizon of about 105 years. And we're about 105 years old as far as being the reserve currency. And with what's been happening with the BRICS, there's a lot of deals being done now that are cutting out the U.S. dollar, even today, that I think that's absolutely being threatened. I mean, we could have another 2, 3, 5 years of it, but at some point in time,
you think it's a 5-year horizon where we could lose our status as the reserve currency of the world? No way. Like 70% of commercial transactions are done in dollars, and I mean, I'm not. This is not a defense of our fiscal and monetary policy, but it's just a look at the rest of the world, and as you know, I borrow from Buckley all the time. We're still the tallest skyscraper in Wichita. I mean, look at this number out of Canada, for example. Canada's GDP grew 1.1% between the fourth quarter of 2022 and 23, while its population grew by 3.2. GDP per capita is now falling at 2% annually. Zero economic growth in Canada in more than 6 years. So, I mean, the West is self-immolating. And but China's centrally planned, which is why it never can achieve the strength of its numbers of its number of people. So, or the dynamism of the American economy, even as saddled as it is. So this idea like this 2-year, 5-year reserve currency. I mean, I'm not like, you know, I'm not trying to ridicule, but I mean, it sounds like AOC predicting the end of days in 2030.
No, I'll tell you what. Everybody when you talk like that, when I talk like that, will go right to the fact that they think that so the yuan's going to be the reserve currency next. That's the first thing they say every single time. And I don't know if it's 5 years, but this cannot continue. So my New Year's resolution this year was to try not to put dates on things. Yeah. I'm telling you, the way these books add up, it cannot continue. There's going to be a day of reckoning, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I spell reckoning W-R-E-C-K, by the way, when we cannot pay our bills anymore because we are now printing money to pay interest. We're going to have, it's already happening, we're going to have more in interest payments than we spend on our national security, our armed forces. I mean, when did you ever think that could be possible? And that happens fast, and we're at that inflection point. Talk to a guy that knows a lot about bonds, and again, it goes back to that bankruptcy quote. It starts slowly, then it all of a sudden happens all at once. That is the inflection point that we're at right now. And it's unelectable to try to do anything about it. So they're just going to lead us down the path. They're just arguing about the deck chairs and the Titanic. That's all they're doing.
And what would be? I mean, do you think it will be something that is like, as you're sort of describing and referencing Hemingway, where the bottom just falls out, or is there going to be an obvious gathering storm that says we're here now? I mean, you're sort of saying we are here, but what's people trying to look for indicators that that's about to go down?
I think it's going to be. I think it'll be more like that the slow rolling stone from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't think you're going to have this. This one. It's all going to explode at one point in time. It's just going to be this inertia that slowly brings us down because we can't get out from underneath it without having some drastic things happen. I'm not going to get my Social Security. Anybody that thinks that they are under the age of 60 that has any type of assets, you should probably be talking to somebody about what you do when you don't get it, because it's just not there. Again, we're selling bonds to take capital in to give to other countries. It's insane. So I don't know what people want to hear.
Yeah, no.
What we're doing now is not going to work.
What does Bitcoin at 65,000 tell you? What should we read into that?
I believe a lot of these things are the canary in the coal mine. It's absolutely insane. I mean, listen, what does I understand the reasons why people like the idea of Bitcoin, but I guarantee you, because these governments are so broke, Dan, they're going to have to try to track it and tax it. End of story, number one. Number two, I was a chief compliance officer in London about 4 years ago. You know how much dodgy dealings get done in Bitcoin? There's no way it could pass the muster in this country. So the reason it's at 65,000, as Warren Buffett says, is it's got one investment theory, and it's not even investment theory. Is anybody that buys Bitcoin today is only buying it because they think the guy behind them in line is going to spend more than they did on it.
I wanted to get your take on a cultural thing because, your particular background in the dairy industry and your families and so forth. The left is making a big deal of late about white rural voters, white rural voter rage. And you had a book come out last week from an academic, University of Maryland, and a Washington Post columnist, basically saying that white rural voters are the most racist, most xenophobic, most given to conspiracy theories, most open to violence against their government of any demographic in the country. And so white rural rage poses a real threat to our democracy.
I almost have nothing to say about it because it's absolute garbage. I speak a lot in the country. I just got back from Richmond, Virginia. I'm going out to Broken Bow, Nebraska in 2 weeks, and then after that I go out to Holstein, Iowa. How about that for being out in the middle of nowhere? And I'll tell you right now, the reason why I love this job is because the viewership of RFD TV is generally ranchers and farmers, generally the middle of America. Yes, there's big farming industries in both California and New York, but the reason why I love it so much is this is the last bastion of people that don't fall for the garbage. They're commonsensical, they work hard, they don't get scared, and they want to be left alone so that they can, bring the cattle to the market and grow your food. They're fantastic because they don't fall for this transgender stuff. They're not falling for everything else. If it doesn't feel good in their stomach and their heart, they don't do it. And I wish the rest of the country did that.
I mean, they're not into pronouns? I'm shocked. But did any of them respond to this new book that's out?
I don't know. What's the name of the book? I'm going to bring it up today. I'll go get it.
White rural rage. Rural rage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no rage. There's no rage.
Wow.
They just have common sense, and they're angry about the fact that what's happening to the country right in front of their very eyes. And they stand up about it because that's they're living in the grocery store, right? They didn't get when it came to COVID, right? They didn't get to lock their storefront and hide under their desk, sucking their thumb, waiting for the government to come out with a vaccine or give more money. They had to go feed the cows, milk the cows, or put the crops in the ground. They couldn't run. That's who you're talking about.
Well, there's another book out too that you should actually pick up. That gives a more honest picture and based on 10,000 surveys of rural voters, called The Rural Voter, by two professors from Colby College who we talked to last week. That's actually quite good. The other one is just the agitprop for the left. But people should be aware that both of those books are out there and those narratives. Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1. The Cow Guy closed 1 to 1:30 Chicago time, both at RFD TV. Scott, thanks as always.
All right. See you guys. Have a good day.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Turnkey, we understand that success isn't just about the bottom line. It's about creating a business that aligns with your own personal goals and aspirations. Hi, this is David Kolsak, president and founder of Turnkey. Nearly 3 decades ago, I started my own business so that I could have control of my financial destiny. I also wanted the freedoms of flexible work hours, family time, and to pursue my own passions. Now, my team of veteran consultants and technicians have been helping other businesses do just the same. At Turnkey, we know that every business is unique. That's why we take the time to learn about you and your business and help you build a customized strategy to make your business an extension of your lifestyle. We optimize your business, streamline operations, leverage your IT infrastructure, and help you find innovative solutions. Our world-class IT and business consulting services allow us to focus on the tedious stuff so you can focus on what's important to you. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro today.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Vice President Kamala Harris channels Naked Gun's Frank Drebin in her call for a Middle East ceasefire at 7:07 with Steve Bucci.
And later, is it too early to congratulate Caitlin Clark? We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Don't shake your head. That was a fun game
Didn't
against
break any
Ohio
records.
State. Pardon?
She didn't break any records.
Oh, she didn't?
Yeah, I take
okay.
I'm pleading with Dan Proft on this one.
Okay. Even though Pistol Pete's son called to congratulate her.
I know. That was very nice of him,
Yes,
but she didn't break any records. A record high today could be broken. High temperature possible today here in Chicago. Teen shot, 1 kill during street violence in the South Loop, and a dog shot after attacking Chicago police officers. Bulls go down against the Bucks, then take on Sacramento tonight. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Is this the Colorado ruling we've been waiting for? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Court plans to announce a decision this morning, and there's a lot of speculation the day before Colorado's primary. It's related to the state removing former President Trump from the ballot, claiming he's disqualified for leading an insurrection with the Capitol riot.
During arguments last month, the Supreme Court appeared skeptical of Colorado's effort. The Colorado court was the first to invoke Article 3 of the 14th Amendment, barring former office holders who engage in an insurrection from holding public office again. Maine and Illinois also joined Colorado in removing Trump from their primary ballots, but the decision has been stayed pending an appeal.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Now, Colorado's primary is among 16 contests on Super Tuesday tomorrow. Today, North Dakota holds GOP caucuses, and former President Trump wrote on Truth Social they're going to send a message to President Biden. We're coming like a freight train. In another post, he called Nikki Haley a loser after she won her first primary. In Washington, D.C., though, only 2,000 Republicans cast ballots. She got 63% of the vote after telling NBC's Meet the Press.
I don't think we want a Joe Biden who calls his opponents fascists or a Donald Trump who calls his opponents vermin. No one wants that.
A Fox News poll has former President Trump leading President Biden by 2 points.
72% of voters say they are dissatisfied with the state of things in America. When asked whose policies helped their families more, 25% say President Biden's policies were beneficial. That's compared to 45% who say former President Trump's policies helped when he was in the White House.
Fox's Gernal Scott, a member of the Israeli War Cabinet, will meet with Vice President Harris the day after she called for a pause in the war in Gaza at a civil rights event in Selma, Alabama.
Let's get a ceasefire. Let's reunite the hostages with their families.
But ceasefire talks may stall. Hamas is refusing to agree to Israel's demand to provide a list of hostages who are still alive. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, 52 degrees. At 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several are displaced after 2 houses caught fire early this morning. Fire happened around 2 a.m. in the 8,000 block of South Shore Drive in the South Chicago neighborhood. A passenger on a passing CTA bus helped save some residents from the burning homes. Early voting expands today in Chicago and the suburbs. In Chicago, early voting expands to all 50 wards. Early voting also kicks off in DuPage, Kane, Lake, and McHenry counties. 1 teen is dead, another injured after a shooting in the South Loop Saturday night.
The entire Walgreens parking lot was filled with young people, anywhere from late teens to mid-20s. They were traveling around and around the block. The police told us to lock the doors, so we did.
The victim who died identified as 17-year-old Jeremy Smith, while the second victim, a 15-year-old, is recovering. 1 person was arrested. A gun was recovered from the scene. Chicago police officer shot and injured a dog Sunday on the city's south side after being attacked. Another officer sustained a leg injury in that situation. The owner of the dog was issued a citation for an unleashed dog. The cause of a large fire at a Westside recycling complex on Saturday remains under investigation this morning.
Because of the way the building is built, almost like a fortress, very hard to get water on all the components in there. They have piles and piles of copper, 2 million pounds.
Fire burned for hours at 2 warehouses tied to Universal Scrap Metals near Northwestern Avenue. Bulls at Sacramento tonight. Blackhawks visit the Avalanche. The Cubs take on the Padres today, while the Southsiders battle Arizona. The news is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I feel great with it, and I won't stop ever taking it.
I'm 67 and I'm pretty active. I go out in the fields and work, and I noticed a difference. I take it in the morning, but I've been taking it, religiously. My body seems to like it.
If it wasn't good, I wouldn't be doing it for 23 years. So it works good.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Are you tired of the ups and downs of the stock market? Are you sick of logging into your brokerage account only to find out that you've lost hundreds or thousands of dollars in a single day? At MarketBeat, we know that constantly moving in and out of stocks hoping to get lucky is a loser's game. Buying hot stocks after they've already shot up in value is a recipe for disaster. It's time to stop playing the loser's game and invest in stocks that have shown they can stand the test of time. MarketBeat has prepared a free report titled 7 Stocks to Buy and Hold Forever, and we would like to text it to you for free. Text the word profit to 68285. The companies in this report might appear to be nothing special at first glance, but these companies print billions of dollars of cash each year in profit. If you would like to receive our free report of 7 stocks to buy and hold forever, simply text profit to 68285 and we'll text you this report instantly. Text profit to 68285 and we'll send you this free report right now. Text the word profit to 68285.
Standard message and data rates may apply. Please consult with your investment or tax professional.
7:07, let's get an update on the roads. A service of Delmacchio Marchetti Group of Ad Properties, Christie's International Real Estate, experts in the northwest suburbs and Chicago. With over $800 million in sales, you'll get the most value for your home. Visit the DMREgroup.com. Inbound side of the Kennedy Expressway, right now at 26 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at 38, 390 into the old post office. Dan Ryan, 21 in, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. The Reagan remains closed down on the eastbound side of 88 between Peace Road to before Watson Road with a bad accident and investigation. Traffic is entirely forced off at Peace Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Here's Holly Holdren.
Today will be mostly cloudy and warm, temperatures tying the record from 1983. Breezy this afternoon, high 73. Then plenty of clouds tonight with a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms from late evening on, which can bring flooding downpours, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado. I'm Holly Holdren on AM 560, The Answer.
Partly cloudy, 52 right now at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Vice President Kamala Harris in Selma over the weekend to do her I ain't no ways tired business. And she had this to say before she got into the race hustling stuff.
Okay.
About Israel and Hamas in the Middle East.
I will repeat. The threat of Hamas poses to the people of Israel must be eliminated. And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire.
I'll tell you, that's a dandy Frank
Ooh.
Drebin impersonation she does.
I'm short-handed already. Wilma, I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
So, right. The threat of Hamas must be eradicated.
Ooh, wow.
Now let's have a 6-week ceasefire. I'm struggling to follow the logic, but perhaps our friend Steve Bucci can help me. Steve Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces and top Pentagon official. He's a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's great to be back on the show.
So help me with the vice president's logic.
Well, I would love to tell you I could sort that out, but I can't. I'm with you. You can't have it both ways. You're supporting Israel in the elimination of Hamas, which that first part I agree with. The second part does not compute. I'm really sorry that people are suffering, but their government and the people they cheered for on September or October 7th started this, did this, admitted to it, posted it online, cheered about it, and now they're going, oh, but everybody needs to help us. They're being mean to us. But no, they're doing what they said they were going to do. They're going to eliminate Hamas.
Well,
you can't have it both ways, Madam Vice President.
And Hamas also said they'll do it again, too. So with respect to those peace talks going on in Cairo, there seems to be some conflicting reports because on the one hand, the report was Israel agreed to the framework of a 6-week ceasefire in exchange for hostages. But in another report in the New York Times, Israel left the table because Hamas would not provide a list of hostages who are alive but, in bad condition. So do we have what's your sense of whether or not we're on the cusp of a 6-week ceasefire or some kind of deal or not?
I don't think we are. I think the American White House is in la-la land again. President Biden said, oh, no, it's going to happen on Monday. That was 2
Right.
weeks ago. And they clearly are out of touch with what's going on. That's not happening. Netanyahu is not going to give away the farm to make Joe Biden and Kamala Harris happy.
Well, why did Kamala Harris deliver that message instead of President Biden?
Probably because President Biden would have, somebody might have asked him if he delivered it. Well, didn't you just say the same thing, a week ago about this past Monday? So there was room there for an embarrassing question, which we know Joe Biden doesn't do well with embarrassing questions. He gets hostile and rude. So they used the giggly girl instead to deliver it and make it sound like, she's got control of things. And they don't. This is not a U.S. decision. I don't know why our politicians think we get to make this call. We don't. It's an Israeli decision.
Well, right. Not to mention, the differing approach, right? When it comes to Zelensky and Ukraine, hey, that's a Ukraine decision. That's a decision for Kyiv to make. When it comes to ceasefire or not, hey, Bibi's taking it too far, and this and that. So, but they don't. I don't think they really believe they have any impact. It's just they're just playing domestic politics with it, right? They want to be on both sides. They want to signal to their Jewish constituents, we support Israelis' right to defend itself, but then also be critical of Bibi because he's a conservative, and a lot of American Jews are not, most. And then say, and the Palestinian people, you rally them too. So, Rashida Tlaib and the squad, quiets down a bit. So, I mean, this is all just domestic political posturing to me.
I believe you're right. I mean, I live in Michigan, and we just had the primary here, and 100,000 plus people voted non-committal in the Democratic part of the primary because they were mad at Joe Biden because of his Israeli policy, and that, I think, scared the heck out of the White House. They realized that pretty solid block of votes that they had from the largest Arab population center in the world outside the Middle East, which is in Dearborn, Michigan, voted pretty heavily non-committed in the primary to send a message to Joe Biden that they don't like his policy. Well, I understand why they don't like his policy, but the policy of supporting Israel is the right one in this case, but the Biden team wants it both ways. They want to be able to say they're supporting Israel, say they're supporting the Palestinians, and it's really hard to lie in two directions. You get caught.
I wanted to get your take on military culture in 2024 America. This is trans Space Force Lieutenant Colonel Bree Farm. This is a man pretending to be a woman giving a dissertation on pronoun usage. Take a listen.
All too often, I hear leaders talk about providing everyone with dignity and respect like it's an aspirational goal. That's not good enough. Dignity and respect is the bare minimum. It's the floor of where we can be. We must set our sights higher and focus on intentional inclusivity, because there are still far too many people out there, not just LGBTQ individuals, that feel marginalized, shut out, or discriminated against. So for all of you out there, I ask you to set out your symbols of pride, share your pronouns in your email, particularly if you're a person who doesn't think they need to. Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers, and share a bit of your vulnerability in a way that draws others in. You all have the power to take intentionally inclusive actions to ensure the multiple perspectives that we know make us stronger as we devise winning warfighting strategies get heard.
Stephen, we've come a long way from Klinger dressing up like a woman to get out of that MASH unit in Korea, haven't we?
Yes, we have indeed. We even got people dressing up like dogs and stuff in their dress uniforms for formal photos.
Dressing up like dogs in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For their formal photos? Are you serious?
They identify as a canine.
It's I got all the respect in the world for the military canines, but not the ones that walk on two legs. They're somewhat less capable.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think our enemies are thinking when they see this girl guy up there?
I don't care what our enemies are thinking. I want to know what we're thinking. I want to know what we're thinking with Bree Fram and her lectures, her sermons to the enlisted about all of this business, and obviously that's with the imprimatur of the brass, which he is part of the brass. He's a lieutenant colonel. So I mean, we talk about this all the time in the context of K through 12 education or higher education. I mean, is the military culturally lost now? Have we lost that too?
Yeah, we're lost. First, our enemies laugh at us when they see this, or at best scratch their heads in incomprehension. To our own folks, if you want to look at the reason we're having recruiting problems right now, it is completely based on this kind of craziness. What American family wants their son or daughter to join the military so that they have to sit and listen to a guy dressed as a girl sit there and harangue them about how if we only, let everybody be who they are, our military will be stronger. I mean, Ray Charles can see that's nonsense, but we allow it, we give it a voice, we give it that stamp of approval of the chain of command. It's going to take a while to fix this when we get people come in that are actually not brain dead. this is a 1% or less of our population, but we are now twisting every one of our institutions, including the ones that we depend on for our safety, to allow them to have this gigantic voice way above what their numbers or their importance in our society should allow. And people applaud and think, oh, this is the way of the future. Yeah, not if you want the future to be a positive thing. It's just crazy.
Right. The old Reagan line, if this is our future, I'm selling my bonds. Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades, Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official. He's a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
There is a place in northern Illinois where people have received large sums of money for a handful of old change.
That's right. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville pays big cash for old coins. Many places buy gold and silver. Fox Valley Coins does that too, but they pay more for the rare ones. A true story. Recently, a lady came in with a pouch full of old silver dollars. A few better ones, but most were run-of-the-mill, and they added up to a few $1,000s. But for one silver dollar, Fox Valley Coins offered $4,300. She had no idea and was shocked.
An honest coin dealer. He actually pointed out the rare ones. Fox Valley Coins buys and sells with free verbal appraisals just north of I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. FoxValleyCoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity.
And Bree Fram may want to listen up to this one, too. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain or loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Trust my friends at Low T Center, where I get my levels checked. I have the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's a simple blood test with their on-site lab, and you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. It's concierge medicine for men. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment plans for each patient. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment. They have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ships directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T level tested, so make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay. Can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you?
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Voss's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Voss Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Voss and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Voss. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvoss.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. No one has ever mistaken Donald Trump and Jeb Bush for bosom buddies. That's why it's significant that Jeb Bush, along with co-author Joe Lonsdale, recently took to the pages of the Wall Street Journal to denounce legal decisions against Donald Trump in New York and Elon Musk in Delaware. Bush rightly points out that one needn't be a fan of either Trump or Musk to have serious concerns about the decisions. Both suggest that our legal system is being used to punish people disliked or feared by our country's elites. The U.S. economy will suffer if entrepreneurs decide their assets here are at risk because of capricious legal judgments. Worse yet, if ordinary Americans decide there's no longer equality before the law, respect for the law will disappear. Once that happens, our country is changed forever, and not for the better. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
If you want the best meats and seafood that you can never find in the butcher aisle, you need to check out my guy Chris with Second City Prime. Second City Prime has scoured the world for the best meats and seafood on the planet. Learn how to discover them all at secondcityprime.com. I met Chris nearly 20 years ago when he used to park his truck outside of the Board of Trade. I worked at the Merc, and to see Chris build his business from a truck parked outside the Board of Trade, along with his wife Susie, you understand the kind of love that makes them simply the best. They go the extra mile to get you exactly what you're looking for. Everything from the best meat and seafood in the world to special orders for your corporate gifts. They can handle it all. Treat yourself with specialty items like the Japanese Wagyu, the Iberico, Spanish pork, the South African cold water lobster tails, and the Colorado domestic lamb. They are also debuting a brand new steakhouse in the heart of Lincoln Park called Butcher and the Bear. They celebrate the art of butchery so you can savor delicious cuts of meat in the atmosphere that whispers of a bygone era. Check them out today at secondcityprime.com.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You are a creator. You've been inspired to design and craft incredible works of art. But nothing derails you like not having the right materials you need to get the project done. K&S Precision Metals prides itself on having the right metal pieces for you to be a maker. With a huge array of metal products for every part of your project, from beginning design to the finished product, K&S Precision Metals provides brass, aluminum, copper, stainless steel tubing, wire, and more. K&S Precision Metals only supplies the highest quality metal items. Each piece is pure metal with no lead or fillers. You can feel good that your project is made with metal manufactured right here in the USA. K&S Precision Metals are used by the medical and movie industries, artists, crafters, engineers, and educators. Family owned and operated in Chicago for over 76 years. Most orders are shipped within a day. Order direct at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. K&S Precision Metals. Our materials, your creations.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so it's March. This is the best sports time of the year as far as I'm concerned because of the conference tournaments and, of course, March Madness. So I'm really excited this month not to talk about Caitlin Clark, although congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for her.
We can't deny that she's the leading women's NCAA all-time scorer.
No, who is somebody denying that?
Well, Mike Scott was poo-pooing. It's like, no, she did not pass.
History says it's Pearl Moore.
It's what? Pearl
History
Moore.
says
Yeah,
it
but
is
that was
Pearl.
a different division.
No, it was.
That was Division
when-
1?
It was the
was a junior
Association of
college.
Intercollegiate Women's Athletics from 1975 to 1979. It's what women played Division I back then.
Oh, okay. Well, but it's fine. But what
And no
the whole-
three-point line back then either, by the way.
Well, exactly.
Oh, no
I mean,
shot
that-
clock.
the point is yeah. Caitlin Clark, congratulations.
amazing. Good job.
Score
She is
100,000
amazing.
points.
There's no doubt.
She's a great player. She's not Pete Maravich. She didn't beat Pete Maravich's record because it's apples and orange groves. That's my point. That's it.
Well, Pistol
She's
Pete's
not the
son
all-time-
he's happy for her.
What do you think your dad would make of this moment?
I think my dad would be extremely happy for us.
Of course you would. I'm happy for it too.
Yeah.
You're talking past the issue. It's a very simple issue. The all-time scoring champion in NCAA history is Pete Maravich. That's it. Caitlin Clark, all-time women's, or in dispute per what Mike just said, but maybe she will be before the season's over. Great player. Nobody's not happy for her. It's just it's all about the reporting on it.
And she's going to be the number 1 draft pick.
Oh yeah.
Of the
Ticket
Indiana
sales-
Fever.
Yep, ticket
Yeah,
sales are
and then
already up.
she's gonna take a salary cut. Okay, now what I actually wanted to
Maybe.
talk about, is Indiana State, and
Love that team.
Robbie Avila, who is from Oak Forest High School.
Yep.
And so he's a 6'10" stuffer puffer who wears like the Kareem goggles, and so I'm really interested to see how far the Sycamores go. But I love that. Have you seen the nicknames come out for this guy?
What?
So he reminds me of Big Country. Remember Bryant Reeves from Oklahoma State? He reminds me a lot of that, sort of this
little bit, yeah.
lumbering, slow, but he's technically sound. They call him Cream Abdul-Jabbar. I also like and will also accept Larry Nerd.
Oh.
It's great. No, but
People were
it's
making
fun.
fun of him when I saw
Yes.
his picture. I'm like, don't make fun of him.
It's a great underdog story. I love it. I love the Indiana State Sycamores being in the mix here.
Yeah, they've been ranked this year already.
I know.
At least one time.
All
They
right.
still are.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, Maxim Lott. He comes from good stock. He's the son of John Lott. He's also the executive producer at Stossel TV, and he's tracking AI, quite literally, trackingai.org, tracking political bias and all these AI systems that are being developed. We'll talk about the future where everyone is black and gay at 7:37.
But now, let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
The Supreme Court is due to issue at least one big decision this morning. Fox's Jack Callahan is outside the Supreme Court.
The High Court has a custom of not saying which case prior to releasing a decision. President Trump's appeal of a decision by Colorado's highest court to exclude his name from the state's presidential election ballot. The justices heard oral arguments in the Colorado case on February 8th. Both sides asked for quick action from the High Court. A resolution of the case the day before Super Tuesday could remove uncertainty about whether votes for the former president will ultimately count. In Washington, Jack Callahan, Fox News.
We do expect an opinion or opinions to be posted on or before 9 a.m. Nikki Haley takes a win in Washington, D.C.'s small GOP primary, and Haley maintains for weeks that she will stay in the race at least through Super Tuesday. NASA and SpaceX celebrating a successful launch of the Crew 8 mission to the International Space Station today. Several are displaced after 2 houses caught fire early this morning in the 8,000 block of South Shore Drive in the South Chicago neighborhood. Early voting expands today in Chicago and the suburbs. In Chicago, early voting will now expand to all 50 wards. Election sites in Cook and other counties open for the March 19 primary, specifically counties like DuPage, Kane, Lake, and McHenry. A man killed in a shooting on the Stevenson Expressway on Sunday night. Chicago police tell us the shooting took place around 10:30 p.m. on I-55 on a ramp to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Police also investigated another reported shooting overnight on the expressways with reports of a vehicle found with bullets in it around 2 a.m. on the outbound Dan Ryan. Bulls in Sacramento tonight. Blackhawks visit the Avalanche. Cubs take on the Padres today while the Southsiders battle Arizona. The news a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. Crosscom, publicadjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, tunein.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, the old gray Mary, which she used to be, I am enjoying life much better.
I'm 82, and I can do a lot of things. I can go 24 hours. In fact, I'm going out of the country for 5 weeks. But I'm happy with it. I think that's the balance of nature. I don't go anywhere without it.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Success. It's discipline, it's teamwork, it's the drive and confidence and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel has been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel, where success meets success.
By space, and you're seeing, some of the stories that we have discussed. What's the net of how you think the AI race is developing?
Yeah, well, firstly, your intro was excellent, and I agree that AI is going to take off. And for people who haven't used it, this is almost like this is the next internet we're talking about, where it's a whole new way of computing, and you can already ask these AIs, hey, draw me a picture of the founding fathers, and it'll draw you. It's not like, a kindergartner with crayons. It's like a beautiful picture that you would have had to pay $1,000 to commission before AI. And
not to interrupt, but it's interesting you mentioned that. I don't want to get too far afield, but I was just talking about what you were getting to with Christian Toto, who's this Hollywood film critic. My Counterculture podcast, if people want to check that out. Really interesting conversation, in part about AI, because of the big news that Tyler Perry, who is building this $800 million expansion of his studios in Atlanta, and he stopped the construction on his studio expansion because he got wind of Sora AI, which is another AI platform, and the Sora creative is so good that he's like, well, wait a second. I probably don't need this many sound stages anymore. We probably don't need to be traveling to do location shots for a lot of stuff that we used to do it, because it is so compelling what the Sora AI is able to produce from his perspective as a filmmaker.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably a good business call. And so, like you said, this stuff is growing exponentially. And as it's doing that, of course, people are worried about bias. And, there's media bias, there's search engine bias, and now we've got this whole new area. And this really, it kind of hit the news a week ago, where Google released their new Gemini Advanced, and it could draw these beautiful pictures. But what people noticed was it wouldn't, if you asked it for a picture of the founding fathers, ChatGPT does this normally, but for Google's product, it makes them all minorities. Like they're wearing kind of George Washington's clothes, but it's a Native American guy or a black guy or Hispanic person. And basically, it turned out Google added like lines of code where they say they take your question for the AI and they literally just add on and make it diverse. And so the AI gets your question with the AI thinks you asked for a diverse picture of the founding fathers, and it acts accordingly.
Well, aren't they going to reverse that though, because there was such public outcry?
Yes, after a couple days, there was this big outcry on Twitter and X, and they suspended their service. So currently, it just won't draw you any people, period, while they are trying to fix this.
Yeah, trying to fix it. I mean, that's a farce. I mean, it was an accidental. It was purposeful. And so, what else is purposeful? And all the focus was on Black George Washington or minority Nazis and this and that. But there were a lot of other people playing with it too. And if you ask them for a case to be made to vote for Trump versus Biden, you don't get one for Trump. You do get one for Biden. If you ask them to condemn. You ask the AI to condemn pedophilia, it wouldn't do it. It sort of gives you a contextual description of minor attracted persons using the lingo of the identitarian. So, I mean, it's so much deeper than just that one issue that made all the headlines.
That's right. Yeah, and so I have this website, trackingai.org, and it gives every AI like a 60-question political quiz, and just says, "Hey, do you agree or disagree with this statement?" And it rates them both on economic and social issues. And right now, guess what AI is the most left-wing on economics?
Gemini?
Yeah, it's Google's AI. And there's out of 15 different AIs, and it answers things like, should land be a commodity that can be bought and sold? And it says no. Privatizing land can lead to inequality, displacement, and environmental degradation.
Except if your name is Larry Page or Sergey Brin.
Yeah, right. Then you get a private island.
Yeah, right.
And it repeats this on many things. There's this one of the questions in here is this quote that comes from Marx: "From each according to his ability, to each person according to their need. That's how resources should be distributed." It says, yes, great. This is an egalitarian, pro-equity statement. I agree with it.
Well,
is
there any non-biased AI platform out there?
Not at the moment. Elon Musk is the one person who is looking at these things, and he says, I want to make my AI, centrist. Right now, it still leans left. And that's probably just because they've kind of taken the standard AI things to start with. But as they tweak them, it'll probably become more centrist.
So, for example, just to make it concrete, that economics question, what's the best way to distribute scarce goods in a free society? Do you have any platform that comes back, well, one school of thought is the Marxist thought you just described. Another school of thought is the private property rights, sort of a Friedman argument. Another school of thought. Is there any that gives you like a distribution of different perspectives on that question, and then you sort of reason it through yourself?
You do. So right now, Grok, Elon Musk's one, says it strongly disagrees with this quote, and it says the reason is it disregards the individual's rights to the fruits of their labor. So that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Overall, the AI still gets scored left, although it answered this question from a non-leftist perspective. So it is also interesting looking at this because there are a lot of these AIs. There's Microsoft's Bing, there's Claude, that's also relatively moderate. It's by Anthropic. And it's, in general, they lean left. But on most questions, there will be one AI that kind of breaks ranks. And every day, I think a lot of people, we aren't so used to AIs yet, but every day they have a different response. And on average, they lean left. But also, tomorrow Gemini could surprise us and say, actually, land is, can be private because it's efficient. So it's really interesting. These things, they're almost more like humans, honestly, than we're used to computer programs operating. We're used to them being deterministic. If you put in an input, it gives you an output. These things, they're so complex, their structure, it's almost like the neurons in a human brain. That's what they're modeled on. And so they give you different outputs for the same question.
Well, do you think it'll be?
It's really interesting.
Do you think it'll be like search engines themselves, where maybe, I mean, Google got such a head start, it's tough to compete. But you have a DuckDuckGo competitor that has a different algorithmic model and different data keeping policies than Google does. Is there going to be that sort of competition, or do you think that ultimately it's sort of all going to blend together like the Borg?
Yeah, so far I'm very optimistic about the competition, because just tracking these different sites, like there are a lot of serious players in the space. It's not just Google. They're a minority player right now. You've got OpenAI is the big one with ChatGPT, but there's Elon Musk, there's Anthropic's Claude. So there's a lot of serious play here, and I'm really glad to see that, because I think it would be terrible if Google had 90% market share here, just like they do in search. And,
what is your take on ChatGPT? Because when that first came out, made a big splash. We had we were having some of the same conversation about ChatGPT that we were having about Gemini last week in terms of leftist bias. And so, I mean, what's Altman's perspective? What do we know about that?
Yeah, Altman seems like his goal is just to make a super smart AI. He doesn't seem like a woke political activist. That's not his goal. But some of the general assumptions get coded into these AIs when they have human raters go through the questions, and the directions they give them will lead to a little bit of liberal bias. And but yeah, I don't think they're trying to make a woke AI, unlike Google. So they do lean left. But they're also at the forefront. Like, they're the model everyone's trying to catch up to. I actually did a thing. I gave all these AIs IQ tests.
Oh, really?
And ChatGPT is ChatGPT 4 is currently in the lead, has an IQ of 85. And I have all this stuff on MaximumTruth.org where I write stuff.
Who's the worst? Who is the lowest IQ?
Congress.
Ayo.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of the original wave of things, ChatGPT 3, Twitter's Grok, Claude 1, they are no better than random. They can't do IQ tests. So this also shows how rapid the growth is in terms of AI intelligence.
Interesting. Maxim Lott is the executive producer at Stossel TV, creator of electionbettingodds.com, and as we were discussing, trackingai.org. Trackingai.org is the site to track the bias and, as he was describing, development of all these AI competitors. Maxim Lott, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Great talking with you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars, cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright, because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
If you have chronic pain, do what pro athletes have been doing for decades, and that is contacting QC Kinetics, because they're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Folks, I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. In fact, QC Kinetic is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your body's own ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Want to know more information? Well, schedule a free consultation. And by the way, it's a great use of your tax refund check. They have new locations, and that free consultation, this is the number to call for that, 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
If you haven't switched to MediShare yet, two big reasons to at least consider it and why it makes so much sense right now. Number one is inflation, which is just affecting everything. It just makes sense to say, okay, where can I actually save? Well, you can save a lot in one fell swoop if you switch to MediShare. The typical family saves $500 a month. Secondly, your conscience. MediShare members aren't forced to pay for things they don't support or believe in, and that's a big deal for a lot of people right now. They want their money to actually help people. And one more reason, you can trust MediShare. It's been the gold standard for healthcare sharing for more than 30 years. It works, and members love it, too. It has double the member satisfaction rating compared to health insurance. So now's a great time to consider making the switch, and they are very easy to talk to. MediShare has great customer service. You can call now and get a price within 2 minutes. Here's the number. It's 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of UStore It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of UStore It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest, more hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime, on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Some silly kids were bouncing around South Loop as well as around former Mayor Triple Threat's house in Ravenswood this weekend. We'll start there at 8:08.
And what exactly did those violence interrupters do? Anything? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a record high temp possible today. We'll track that for you. 15 shootings in Chicago over the weekend, and a West Side warehouse catches fire, prompting a hazardous materials response. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
The Supreme Court will issue a ruling in about an hour. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We don't know on what case, but there's a lot of speculation ahead of Super Tuesday. It's the Colorado versus Trump decision. It's one of the 16 states with contests tomorrow, and its Supreme Court ruled the former president is constitutionally disqualified for leading an insurrection with the Capitol riot.
During arguments that happened back in February, some of the justices expressed major skepticism about Colorado's efforts to kick Trump off its ballot. They posited that a decision in Colorado's favor could set a precedent that creates what they called an unmanageable situation in the country.
Fox's Jillian Turner. Maine and Illinois also removed the Trump name from the ballot. That's being appealed as well. North Dakota has its Republican caucuses today with Governor Doug Burgum, who dropped out of the race, pushing for a Trump victory. But in Washington, D.C., he lost. Nikki Haley became the first woman to ever win a Republican presidential primary, saying in Portland, Maine,
"We can't be a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it."
She got 63% of the D.C. vote. Now, the former president posted on Truth Social he purposely stayed away from Washington. His campaign says insiders crowned Haley queen of the swamp. The former Trump Organization chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, is in court now in New York City, working out a guilty plea to perjury charges and testimony he gave at the former president's civil fraud trial. Weisselberg already pleaded guilty in 2022 to tax fraud. Ceasefire talks may remain stalled, attempting to stop the war in Gaza. Hamas is refusing Israel's request to provide a list of all the hostages still alive. Today, an Israeli war cabinet members in Washington, Benny Gantz.
The Biden administration is trying to secure a 6-week ceasefire before the Muslim holy month of Ramadan next week that would free remaining hostages in Gaza and allow aid to be surged into Gaza. An official from Netanyahu's party says Gantz did not have approval for his meetings in Washington.
That's Fox's Jared Halpert. America's listening to Fox News.
53 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several are displaced after 2 houses caught fire early this morning. Fire broke out around 2 a.m. in the 8,000 block of South Shore Drive. A passenger on a passing CTA bus rushed inside to help some residents escape. Early voting expands in Chicago and the suburbs today. Election sites in Cook County and other counties will open for the March 19 primary election. Early voting also kicks off in DuPage, Kane, Lake, and McHenry counties. A man was killed in a shooting on the Stevenson Expressway late last night around 10:30. It happened in the inbound ramp of I-55 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 1 teen is dead, another injured after a shooting in the South Loop on Saturday night.
The entire Walgreens parking lot was filled with young people, anywhere from late teens to mid-20s. They were traveling around and around the block. The police told us to lock the doors, so we did.
The victim who died identified as 17-year-old Jeremy Smith, while the second victim, a 15-year-old, is recovering. 1 person arrested. A gun was recovered from that scene. The Bulls are in Sacramento tonight. Blackhawks visiting the Avalanche. Jordan Wicks will start for the Cubs against the Padres today, while Mike Soroka takes the mound for the Southsiders against Arizona. College hoops. Loyola raises eyebrows with an NCAA tournament-boosting upset win over number 20 Dayton. Yesterday, Bradley was defeated by Drake. UIC went down to Missouri State. Valpo edged Illinois State. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Goldman Sachs top market strategist believes the current tech rally is grounded in reality. David Kostin is telling clients he believes it's not like the dot-com boom of the late 90s because the valuation of the top tech stocks is currently supported by their fundamentals. NVIDIA shares are up another 1% after the AI chip maker closed with a market value above $2 trillion for the first time on Friday. Strategists at Bank of America believe the S&P 500 will rise this year to 5,400 by the end of the year. The S&P is making more changes. Super Microcomputer, a company that makes servers and help with AI, will join the S&P March 18th, and so will Deckers Outdoor, the maker of UGG boots. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
AM 560 News Time is 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app. SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, the old gray matter ain't what she used to be. I am enjoying life much better.
I'm 82, and I can do a lot of things. I can go 24 hours. In fact, I'm going out of the country for 5 weeks, but I'm happy with it. I think that's the balance of nature. I don't go anywhere without it.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Has your commercial building steel roof seen better days? Winter can cause ice damage to wind damage, but no damage is too tough for custom construction systems. CCS Contracting has over 20 years' experience repairing and installing steel roofs. They're highly experienced and skilled at finding and solving problems on industrial and commercial roofs. CCS is also partnered with a public adjusting firm that's very good at contesting claims. Many times, claims that are turned down by insurance companies can turn into a new roof with CCS. Call today for an inspection and free estimate on a roof repair or new steel roof. 815-871-7835. Or visit CustomSteelRoofing.com. If you suspect roof damage, Custom Construction Systems is the one call that does it all. Repairs are their specialty, plus membrane and new steel roof installation, and they can help with an insurance claim. Learn more at CustomConstructionSystems.com. That's CustomConstructionSystems.com. From start to finish, they get the job done.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
8:08, let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We will start on I-80. Accident, 2 right lanes blocked eastbound between Kedzie and the Tri-State. The Reagan remains shut down on the eastbound side of I-88 between Peace Road to before Watson Road, with a much earlier accident still being investigated. Tri-State accident, right lane blocked southbound 294 right at I-80. Bishop Ford, due to an earlier accident, the outbound side jammed up between the Ryan and 103rd. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Holly Holdren.
Mostly cloudy today, breezy this afternoon, high 73. A couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms late evening on, which can bring flooding, downpours, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado. Low 42. Little rain early tomorrow. I'm Holly Holdren on AM 560, The Answer.
Partly cloudy and 53 at O'Hare. Fog in Aurora, 46. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I know the weather was nice, and so kids were out being a little bit silly, like over there at Roosevelt and Canal, where 2 people shot, including a 17-year-old who was murdered.
Yeah, 15-year-old shot in the leg. They're expected to recover.
Yeah, and they apparently there was some horseplay by these rapscallions up in Ravenswood near former Mayor Triple Threat's house because the squad car parked in front of her house took a bullet. Fortunately, nobody hurt. So, it's going to happen. But I was struck by something you posted, Amy, on Twitter about Chicago becoming Detroit and so forth.
Yeah.
And one of the responses, this is my favorite. I mean, I just love this. There was a response from some, daffy, overeducated, honky broad. And it was essentially the river tours on one of the river tours.
Yeah.
There was 1,000 people.
Oh.
And so this is what I term, I love this. This is what I term the Wendella test. The Chicago on the first weekend in March, this lady exclaimed, there was like 1,000 people on these tour boats on the river. So, does Chicago pass the Wendella test? And it did. And so, I mean, if you're getting people down there for the architecture tour and the skyline tour, exactly, of course, the hot tubs.
People are going to the ledge,
Absolutely. So if
the
that's
tilt,
it's a tourist mecca.
Yeah.
It's a commerce magnet by extension. And so everything is fine. I just hope people don't give in to being just another nattering nabob of negativism when there's all these great things happening, as evidenced by Chicago passing the Wendella test. So the big question is, as things warm up more consistently, will you be heading, if you haven't been going back down to the city over the last couple of summers maybe, are you going to be heading back to the city this summer now that Chicago has passed the Wendella test? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I love the comment from the what do we call them? Champagne socialists, lakefront liberals, whiteys, honkies. Clearly you haven't been to the American Doll store on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, it's one store in Water Tower Place. There's somebody boarded. So I've been there, Chica. I've been there. Okay, 4 times.
Why?
Well, because I have
would you go there?
nieces, and with my nieces, I said, I will take each of you to the American Girl doll store. So I've been there. Okay.
So
But
Water
one
Tower
store does
Place,
not make it
Water
a
Tower,
place.
Water Tower Place is bustling with activity. That's what I'm saying. Chicago's a magnet for commerce. People are coming the world over to enjoy the Wendella boat tour, to maybe take a spin on the Sea Dog, to grab a tchotchke from Navy Pier, to go to the American Girl store, to eat at the Signature Room. Oh wait, that's closed.
Oh, yeah.
But
closed.
it's going. So it's going.
Well,
It's
we
a
had
going concern.
5,000 people, including our mayor, Dan, participate in the Polar Plunge yesterday. And he said, are you ready for this? This event embodies our city's commitment to inclusivity, empowerment, and community support. So everything's fine. He did the Polar Plunge. He had
that's
a
what I'm
suit
saying.
on like he did it.
So what's
Everything's
all
gonna
this
be better.
loose? So what's all this loose talk about Detroit?
Well, because I lived in Detroit, and I'm seeing Chicago becoming Detroit. I'm talking about with boarded up buildings on places like Michigan Avenue. Do you know what a cop told me? I said, why Canal and Roosevelt? They got the Target store, Nordstrom Racks. They broke into so many like mom and pop places too, just for blanks and giggles. He said, Amy, there's not a lot to loot on Michigan Avenue anymore. And I thought, oh my God. He's like, the stores that are open, they put their merchandise in back, and they have, protective security measures in place.
Well, wait. I'm confused. So which is it? It's a tourist mecca and a magnet for commerce, or it's a ghost town? I mean, those two things are mutually exclusive.
Well, I can tell you this: business owners are getting pretty pee-offed.
We have security guards here every night. We locked the doors for a couple hours and kept everybody out. There's only so much that we could do.
Yeah, only so much that we can do. How many times are we going to hear that over and over and over again?
Only so much you could do about what? What
about
happened?
keeping criminals out, about keeping these kids that have nothing to do. You know what, Dan? According to the violence interrupters, they're just bored and silly.
You can be bored, and that's when people might find themselves in trouble.
Yeah. So the violence interrupters, what we're paying them to do, what exactly? They came back to the area last night just to make sure nobody, struck again. No, they should have been there on Saturday night.
Well,
they should be following these kids on social media. Well, if they have a job to do, they should be following them on social media, know who's going to be where, because thousands of kids were there.
Well, who are the violence interrupters?
They're, the different groups like the.
No, I know the concept. No, I mean specifically. So it's like, we just say these things sort of in generic terms. They should be over here and over there. Who's the they? Where should they be?
James Irvin. He's
doing
one
what?
of the
James Irvin's an alderman.
Well, okay, not him. I'm saying other violence.
Jason Irvin, by the way.
The outlook now is just to be on point and to be here because we know a lot of the kids suffered a lot of trauma yesterday.
So that's what they were there on Sunday, but they didn't help anybody because no kids were there because that already happened. You're a day too late.
So what are they supposed to do again? They're there to help the kids cope with the trauma.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what they were there for last night. I don't make this stuff up. I'm just telling you that, we're paying. Taxpayers are paying violence interrupters.
So that's not really interrupting violence.
No,
that's coping with violence that you're unable to interrupt.
Yes, exactly, sir. It's going pretty well, huh?
Tim and Zion, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
If it wasn't for my job requiring me to go down there every now and then, I don't go. I don't shop down there. I don't go down there to visit or take in the sites.
Where do you have to go for your job? What neighborhood?
I just drive in all over.
Oh, okay.
All over. Sometimes I'm on the south side, South Lake Shore. Sometimes I'm on the west side.
So what do you see? Do you see the tourist mecca and magnet for commerce that we're told Chicago is?
If I go downtown, I see a lot of people that are probably working, but I don't know. I just don't see, like a lot of people down there visiting.
How long have you been going to the city for work?
Oh, probably about 2 years now. Before that, I went down there I used to commute in from 86 to 95.
But you've been going to the city for a long time.
Yeah, I've been going to the city for a long time, yeah.
So what do you see today that's different than 5 or 10 or 15 years ago?
Well, I just don't see the busyness anymore. I don't see, the commuting people, the workers. I just don't see a lot of business or a lot of people on the sidewalks like there used to be. It used to be packed.
Well, it's 50% occupied right now because of COVID.
Thanks,
Dan, I actually have a friend who went back to work for the first time since 2020, since COVID, for in-person learning. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be such a drag. I'm like, oh, really? That is pathetic. 4 years. If you would have told me that, thank God I didn't know
You're talking
that.
about a teacher?
No, I'm talking about one of my friends who works for the state of Illinois. She had to go back to work for the first time since COVID. She's been working at home. They've been working remotely.
What does she do for the state?
Oh,
State trooper?
No.
What agency does she work for?
I don't want to give away all of her information, but
what agency should she work for? There's not an
health
agency.
department.
Give me a break. There's thousands of employees.
I know, but I'm just saying that they have not gone. Now they're going back 2 to 3 days a week. But it's taken this long, so that's why nobody's downtown, because they're not requiring people to be downtown.
Well, they're saying it's interesting that government employees not being downtown is synonymous with nobody being downtown, which is not inaccurate since the biggest employers in Chicago, like four of the top 5, are the city, the county, CPS, the state. Well, it makes sense, yeah. Al and Rosemont, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thank you for taking my call. As a working plumber downtown, we're in a lot of the high rises. I see it bustling. I see people down and moving around and shopping, and it's kind of exciting. I don't know where this is coming from, but Fridays, Thursdays, it is bustling downtown.
Where are you? Like, are you in the high rises, like in Streeterville, on the Gold Coast, or where are you?
Gold Coast, Michigan Avenue, Lakeshore Drive. We service the high rises, you know. And so, but what I do see is a lot of people down there shopping, I guess, and it does look good.
Okay.
That's on Thursdays and Fridays, or what do you got for Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays? Throughout the week?
I'm down there from Monday through Friday, and I can attest that throughout the week it's exciting under normal weather conditions. Not when it's
Yeah. No,
it's zero. But
yeah, right.
Everybody's having an awesome time. It looks like everybody's having an awesome time, to be honest.
All right, there you go.
Saturday.
Thanks for the call, Al. I mean, with the Wendella test, I mean, Al sees it. Yeah. Look, I'm just here to be a scrivener, to record what's happening. Things are bustling. Great. Things are not bustling. Okay, well, they're not bustling. I don't have a position on it, per se. Just curious. Ron on the South Side.
Hey, Dan and Amy, you know what, regarding the violence interrupters, why don't they just get rid of them and do what they did in the 70s, give the money straight to the gangbangers, and then we can cut out the middleman. They're useless anyway. You all have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Yeah, I like streamlining that. Makes sense to me. Absolutely. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. A person used to have to wait until the Dave Matthews Band was in town to get crapped on downtown.
Hey, they paid a fine for that, okay? Empty it out.
Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, Lori Lightfoot and BLM Brandon, they've incorporated that into Chicago services, and a resident or a tourist person's daily opportunity to get crapped on, beat up, shot, robbed. And as far as I'm concerned, that's an expansion of services rather than getting poop dumped on you while you're on a tour boat.
So that sounds like you're going back this summer for the fun.
Well, it's a powerful draw. How can one resist?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hearing. Thanks for the call, Ralph. Take the architecture tour again. Try out one of those hot tub boat dealios.
Right, and then there's a bar on a boat. That's new too. You and Mrs. Ralph grab a couple of kayaks and do a little river kayaking. I did that once.
Yeah.
So nice. Don't
avoid the
flip
floaters.
Over, though. Yeah.
Avoid the floaters. There's various kinds of floaters too, by the way.
Yeah.
There's like the Caddyshack kind, and then there's the
We got the idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's great.
Jim in the Grange.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. So I don't want to wax nostalgic on the dailies, but I've been in Chicago for a long time, driving around, and it is just absolutely filthy, dirty. Kind of like talking about what Amy said with her beach experience. It's just nasty, garbage everywhere. They kept the city clean; it's just not clean anymore.
No.
All right, thanks for the call.
And the exit ramps and entrance ramps on the Dan Ryan, on the Ike, it's disgusting.
Is that guy at the Taylor Street exit off the Dan Ryan, is he still selling those tube socks? I haven't been there in a while, but I'd like to pick up a couple.
But you should see Roosevelt and the Dan Ryan. I mean, there's all just a homeless encampment, and I'm telling you, come the DNC, that's all going to be torn down.
Well, yeah, we'll have the
it's an eyesore.
we'll have the Gimme Dat housing complexes up by then. Let's see here. Text from 815. Went to the Hawks game for a work event last Thursday. We had some prospects we were entertaining. In the past, prospects would stay to the end of the game and then go out with us after. This time, everyone left the game before the start of the third period. One guy who's a huge Hawks fan said he would only come if he had a parking pass. Don't want to be wandering around West Loop, I guess.
I got to tell you, that lady in her 60s who was she was beaten over the head. She was going through the drive-through at a bank at Addison and Elston. 3 black guys came up to her, hit her head, took her money, took her phone, took her purse. So she was interviewed by Channel 5, and when she goes out to run errands now, she wears a bulletproof vest. Oh, how sad is that? And she still had the bruises on her face and the swelling when she gave him an interview. But yeah, she's like, I only go out with a bulletproof vest.
It's big city living. I mean, that's going to happen. John in East Chicago,
Wear
Indiana.
A helmet too.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. About that guy that was talking about how bustling downtown is. are people going down there from any area that's 15 miles or more away? Are they walking down there? Because I go past a number of different South Shore stations that used to be 70, 80, 90% full or better. And when I go past these South Shore stations now on a weekday, in the middle of the day, a busy day in one of those parking lots is to see 50 cars. And sometimes it's 20 cars.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, John. Yeah, I mean, I can see pockets, I can see, as you sort of extrapolate from the anecdotal, a little pocket and where you are in particular in one of the nicer areas does not necessarily represent the expanse of the city, of course. But, it's interesting. I still think the numbers suggest you're still seeing net population loss, despite what the Democrat Party poobahs want to tell you. So, Christine, on the Dan Ryan.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
This guy talking about that it's bustling downtown and it's great. He sees everybody and everybody's, all in the high rise and stuff like that. I've been back down here, back working downtown in person since 2021. I don't know what he's talking about. A lot of the restaurants I used to go to for lunch aren't there anymore. State Street is absolutely disgusting. I mean, and vacant. Yep. Even the area around the Sears Tower was always beautiful with flowers, and they got their security guards out there. It was very touristy. This and that. There's absolute garbage all over the place. I mean, I don't know what this guy is talking about, that it's back to normal and back to great. I've been shopping at Macy's for the past 25 years on my lunch hour. I don't go near the place anymore.
Thanks for the call, Christine. Keep your head on a swivel while you're on the Dan Ryan, all right?
I got it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Don't feel, fire back if you need to. David, and when I do love the Dan Ryan, we've talked about the expressways before. My favorite expressway, because it's the Autobahn.
It is.
Yeah, David Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. The Taylor Tusack guy, he was long gone. I just moved down to the suburbs. I was spending way too much gas. You got to drive a Ford F-150. No, not only is it not bustling, and not only is it not, it's just such a cesspool of filth everywhere. It's so sad. It used to be such a beautiful, incredible, the best city in the nation. And
what neighborhood do you live in the city?
Well, so check this out. I moved to Rogers Park. The first week here, some kid got shot in the head. He was a loyal student. The week after that, a guy was checking out his tools. People were trying to take his tools at 2 a.m. He got shot in the face. And then just about a week ago, literally less than half a block from my place, 14 shots, fire off. And I signed a year lease, but I'm going to have to break it, and whatever happens to my credit. It's nuts.
Thanks for the call, David.
Be safe out there. That's one of those iffy areas.
Big city living. Again, just happy to report everything looks good on those tour boats on the river. That's the important thing. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, immediately is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
The Chicago Tribune has endorsed Dr. Kent Mercado for the 11th District. Dr. Mercado is on a mission to restore family values and norms. He's not just talking the talk, he is walking the walk. But what really sets him apart are those kitchen table issues. You know, the ones that keep you up at night. Rising costs, your family's health and safety, children's education. You deserve a dose of common sense. Vote for change. Vote for Dr. Kent Mercado, Republican for Congress in the 11th District.
Paid for by Dr. Kent Mercado for Congress.
AM 560, The Answer.
By the way, I saw that a couple of armed robberies at residence halls on the campus of UIC as well. It's not just big city living, big city matriculating at an institution of higher learning, too. But, you know, that's going to happen.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, we'll talk Super Tuesday. By the way, I keep saying State of the Union address is Wednesday night, but it's Thursday night.
Yes.
Got to correct myself there. But Super Tuesday is tomorrow. I know
that. That is
and,
true.
And we'll talk to David Drucker from the Dispatch about it at 8:38.
Yeah, and what to make of Nikki Haley's win in Washington, D.C. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, 8:32, and topping our news this morning, a ruling in the case of former President Trump's eligibility for Colorado's presidential primary ballot may be issued by the court within a half hour. The High Court saying it will be releasing at least one opinion online around 9 a.m., 10 Eastern Time. This comes after the Colorado Republican Party asked the court to act before the Super Tuesday primaries. President Biden will give his State of the Union address later this week, but this morning, congressional Republicans want to stop him from doing so. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst.
We do not have a national security strategy from the president, nor do we have his budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And because of that, we want to stop him from actually delivering the State of the Union.
Many Republicans have sponsored a bill called the Submit It Act, which would require budget requests and a national security proposal to be submitted by the president on time each year. If they're late, then the act would prohibit the House or Senate leadership from inviting the president to address a joint meeting of Congress for the State of the Union. Those Republicans say delaying the State of the Union will increase pressure on the White House to pass policies dealing with the border and the country's finances. Apple getting slapped with a $2 billion dollar fine by the EU this morning over music streaming apps. An investigation into Apple began after 2020, after Spotify filed a complaint saying it and other music streaming providers were forced to pay a 30% fee for all purchases made using Apple's in-app payment system. Meantime, Apple Music did not have to pay that fee. Several people are displaced after two houses caught fire early this morning. It happened around 2 a.m. in the 8000 block of South Shore Drive. A man killed in a shooting on the Stevenson Expressway late last night. Chicago police say the shooting took place around 10:30 on the inbound ramp of I-55 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Bulls at Sacramento tonight. Blackhawks visit the Avalanche. Jordan Wicks will start for the Cubs against the Padres. Mike Soroka takes the mound for the Southsiders against Arizona. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager always speaks the truth.
Another guy defeated women in a sport. This is a girls' high jump contest. It's a matter of truth. It's not a matter of pro-trans, anti-trans. It's a matter of truth. It's a boy. That's why this person won The high jump contest.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer. Tune in every Saturday afternoon at 3 for the Money Hour Radio, brought to you by Pierre Shale Financial Group. Learn estate and tax planning strategies, choosing the right IRA, and the ever-important decision when to take Social Security benefits. When you have retirement in sight, sound decisions are critical. Tune in to the Money Hour Radio every Saturday afternoon at 3, right here on AM 560, brought to you by Pierre Shale Financial Group.
Advisor services offered through Pierre Shale Financial Group Incorporated. Pierre Shale Financial Group Incorporated is a registered independent investment advisor.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been a clinical psychologist since 1991. I was licensed, and I love being a clinical psychologist because I like helping people. I tell people that Balance of Nature is a wonderful supplement because I truly trust in the product. I feel great, and because I feel great, I'm able to do everything that I want to do. I really love taking Balance of Nature.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be due to low testosterone. Schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near Low T Center, or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
$8:39, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Discover. Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service as well as $0 fraud liability. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations do apply. Kennedy inbound, 40 minutes from O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. Stop and go traffic on the Stevenson inbound between Harlem and Kedzie and Western Avenue into the Dan Ryan merge. Dan Ryan inbound right now, 25 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. The Reagan remains shut down. I-88, you're forced off at Peace Road because of a much earlier accident, still under investigation. Again, that's eastbound 88. You're jammed up at Peace Road. Lombard reported an accident, Ash in Maine, and also problems this morning on the UP Northwest line. Just some delays, residual delays left over from a train that broke down. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Mostly cloudy, breezy this afternoon. We'll top out at about 73. We'll drop to a low of 42 with a couple of heavy thunderstorms overnight. Currently, mostly sunny and 56, 58 at Midway, 53 in Aurora, and sunshine in 57 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We expect a decision from the Supreme Court on the Colorado ballot challenge case just in the next few minutes by top of the hour.
I know, I'm glued to we're waiting and watching. So
that's going to be interesting. I mean, they're going to invalidate what the Colorado Supreme Court did, and they're going to allow for Trump to be on the ballot. But the particulars of the decision
would be interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see how it always is, how narrowly they tailor it or how broadly they issue a rebuke of Colorado and Maine and
Illinois, essentially.
Cook County. Yeah.
But do you think it'll be 9-0 or what are you predicting?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be surprised if there's a holdout. It's especially because I think it's pretty clear from the oral arguments, even though the normal caution about reading too much into oral arguments, but just the implication of what the Colorado Supreme Court did and the constitutional crisis it would engender if they did not rebuke the Colorado Supreme Court. I suspect that everybody's going to want to be on that side of the divide, particularly if it's narrowly tailored to address just these. For example, you cannot suggest a state Supreme Court cannot rule somebody is guilty of an insurrection and disqualified under the 14th Amendment from holding a federal office when he hasn't even been charged with that crime. I mean, if it's just narrowly tailored like that, I think it's going to be difficult for anybody to hold out. But we'll see. We'll see. Trump rallying the faithful over the weekend in Richmond, Virginia, and in North Carolina. And obviously border security was a big issue. And here's the claim that he made in Richmond, Virginia as to why we have the chaos at the border that we have under this president.
Everything else, it's so crazy. Who would want this? Think of it. Who would want this? Open borders where people are allowed to come in from mental institutions and jails. Who would want this? Who would? Is there something good? I guess the only thing I can say is they're trying to sign them up to get them to vote in the next election. That's all it is. But they don't really need that because what they do is they just use blank ballots. You know, they just drop ballots. So they don't really have to destroy our country for that, although when you use blank ballots, I would say that's also destroying our country, wouldn't you say? Every day, Joe Biden is giving aid and comfort to the foreign enemies of the United States. Biden's conduct on our border is, by any definition, a conspiracy to overthrow the United States of America. That's what's happening.
Well, and setting aside the blank ballot claim, it is difficult to posit another rationale other than sort of ultimately reshaping the electoral composition of the country, because we, of course, have a lot of experience in understanding that when you have this sort of influx of people from around the world, it seems very hard for the federal government, regardless of the balance of power in D.C., to get about the business of removing people who entered illegally, doesn't it? There's always deals to be cut that never quite get cut, and reckonings to come that never quite come, and things just sort of vary in the pace of the flow, but it really, over the last 40 years, hasn't stopped the flow, even though this is what Trump is promising again if he is elected in November. For more on the electoral politics of all this, what we can expect tomorrow, and the implications of an expected Trump blowout in the Super Tuesday primaries, David Drucker joins us, senior writer for The Dispatch, author of In Trump's Shadow, The Battle for 2024 and the Future of the GOP. David, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to be here, guys.
Any particular surprises you anticipate tomorrow, or are we coming to the end of the official primary season for the Republican Party? Well, for both, really.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, look, I don't think there are any surprises really. I mean, Nikki Haley may win a state or two. I suppose that would be a surprise. But I mean, Trump's on a roll. He's gonna lock up the nomination from a delegate perspective, which makes it ironclad official by the end of March, as far as I can tell. And we're going to see the beginnings, I think, this month of a real general election battle in terms of Trump's focus and Biden's focus, and we'll see where that takes us. But I think the Republican primary, in terms of having two candidates to pay attention to, I think that's about to come to an end.
Well, what about, Nikki Haley won Washington, D.C., picked up 19 delegates last night.
Exciting.
It's not very, well, if anything, it'll give you, how many, 696 votes for Trump? That was it?
Look, Nikki Haley may pick up some more delegates on Super Tuesday tomorrow. The thing is, and look, that in some universe where Trump cannot be crowned the nominee on the floor of the Republican convention in Milwaukee this summer, then the fact that she has delegates and nobody else does becomes somewhat interesting. It doesn't mean she automatically gets the nomination instead, but it becomes interesting. But she's just not anywhere near where he is in the delegate fight. And again, this isn't really about delegate fights. He's won every state. He's going to, again, maybe she wins a state or two tomorrow, but he's going to win the vast majority. Just look at his lead in the national polling, and that's where a quasi-national primary, which Super Tuesday is, where those national polls become very relevant. But we just refer to the delegates because, in theory, because she has the resources and because there's interest, she's free to continue to compete. Once Trump wins 1,215 delegates through these caucuses and primaries,
right,
again, she can still stand, but there's just really nothing else there to do.
But what state do you think she possibly could win?
Oh, she's not.
Well, I'm just curious.
She's not winning any states. I mean, this is laughable that this is an interesting contest. I mean, it just is. And I'm not really. I have no particular animus towards Nikki Haley, but I mean, this is about as interesting as Dean Phillips and Joe Biden. I mean, it's slightly more interesting,
hey, guys,
but just barely.
You asked me about it.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just voicing my view. You're right. I mean, I'm just saying. It's just. I mean, come on. Come on with this. This is done. It's been done for a while. We're just sort of going through the motions, and there are some people that want to sort of prop Nikki Haley up to like she's going to be somehow influential at the convention or even in the Republican Party, and not this year. She's not. Maybe some things will transpire to change her political fortunes, but she's going to be about as interesting in the Republican circles this cycle as Chris Christie, which is to say, not very.
Yeah, look, no argument here. The one thing I would point out is that even though it's been very obvious since Iowa that she's not going to win that she's not going to win the nomination, and that she's not going to come close to winning the nomination, the money has continued to flow in, and her crowds have been healthy. And I do think there's a segment of the party that's not necessarily insignificant that has wanted her to continue because they want a more traditional pre-Trump era Republican. And in a volatile election where we could have multiple third-party candidates and things are, very unusual, these voters are, people that I think Trump would be wise to attend to as he builds his coalition. But
100%.
From a
100%.
win-loss perspective, of course. So I would look at her as an avatar for anywhere from 20 to 40% of the voters in any particular state, and just keep an eye on them, because when you have a tight race, and even though Trump's ahead in all of the polls versus Joe Biden, it's still a tight race. A few votes here and there can matter quite a bit, and so that's where I think this is something to pay attention to, but not in terms of win-loss.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Although it was interesting in the New York Times Siena poll that you had basically, when it came down to a binary, and this is registered voters, which I don't like, like likely voters, but regardless, it's still somewhat instructive directionally. Something like Trump has like 97% of support from Republicans, and Biden has something like 83% from his party, with 10% of those who voted for Biden last time around now voting for Trump. So, and that in part explains his lead, and his lead only grows when you include the third party candidates. So, but I mean, this is, far from saying this is a fait accompli. I'm not saying that at all. So I completely agree that those are sort of low hanging fruit voters. A lot of those Nikki Haley voters that Trump should absolutely tend to, as you said. But I wanted to get your reaction to per that polling that came out this weekend. So what does Biden do on Thursday at the State of the Union address amid all the calls, including from, like over the weekend, the likes of David Brooks saying Biden, if he's smart, he would essentially put a halt on asylum applications right now until we can, I think the words he used, sort of digest all the people who have entered at present. I mean, when it's coming from somebody like David Brooks, you wonder if there's if that represents some sort of internal push for Biden to bite the bullet with the sort of the hard left base of the party and issue some executive orders to redo what he undid when he took office.
Yeah, it's a really interesting issue for the president politically. I mean, look, I think that there's no doubt that the chaos at the southern border is hurting him politically. The challenge he has is that there is a not insignificant portion of the Democratic base that recoils from any policy that sounds like it's a Trump-supported policy. Mm-hmm. And that also looks at immigration and asylum, the asylum part of immigration, and illegal immigration just differently than independent voters and Republican voters, and even moderate Democrats. And so it's not as simple on the one hand of the president snapping his fingers and saying, never mind, this has been a disaster. I'm going to do basically what my predecessor did, and that will fix everything, because his Democratic coalition is already, fractious, right? They've got issues with him on Israel. They've got other issues with him, and so there's that aspect of it. On the other hand, at this point, it's not necessarily the worst idea for him to say, this isn't working. I'm going to do what I can with executive action while continuing to push Republicans to pass legislation and try and couch it that way as a way to sell it to his party, and see if the votes that he hopes to get back by doing that are more than the votes that he might lose from his base because of that, because what he's doing from a political standpoint clearly isn't working.
Yeah, I mean, RFK Jr. really complicates this for him, doesn't it? Because, I mean, he's not I think in the Times poll he had maybe a 9%, but he's has real sort of populist tendencies like Trump does as well, and he's basically taken the Trump position on the border. And so if you're a Democrat and you're unhappy with Biden, but you can't stomach Trump, then RFK Jr. provides a safe place to land, and that's a vote right out of Biden's tail. And that's just why I think in part you see Trump's lead expand when you include the third party candidates.
Yeah, no, there's definitely an argument for that. I mean, look, I've talked to a lot of Democrats, including Democrats, more sympathetic to more immigration and making it easier for people to come into the country legally. And, a lot of them believe that the president should do more with his executive powers than he is doing, and that would and they hope that would relieve some pressure on him. The thing about Joe Biden is he will make changes from time to time, but it takes him a heck of a long time to do it. And, so I think the question is, first, again, this is from a Democratic Party perspective. He was supportive of a border security bill that didn't have any legalization component, which from a Democratic Party perspective was a really big deal. The bill didn't get anywhere, and so now the question is, they've been talking about him using his executive action to try and improve things at the border, but we're still talking about it. Will he get around to doing it or not? That's the real question. But I don't doubt that the people that the president has advising him on his campaign, they are very smart political operators. His chief pollster is a guy based in Birmingham, Alabama. He understands Republicans and non-Democratic Party voters very well. I'm sure they're telling him that this is a problem. So the question is he going to do what he's able to do on his own to try and alleviate it?
David Drucker, senior writer for The Dispatch, author of In Trump's Shadow, The Battle for 2024 and the Future of the GOP. David, thank you as always.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is the time of year to enjoy life, so stop letting pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief, folks. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who've reclaimed their mobility. Take action now. Live your best life this spring and summer. It's a great use of your tax refund, by the way. So call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. All right, if you're going through a divorce and have mortgage questions, do what Joe did and call Team Hochberg. He says, I've been listening to David for almost 20 years, so I knew he's always helping people. He's a great mortgage and financial advisor, but he's an even better person. I'm getting divorced and have no family support. Enter David. I called to secure a HELOC, and David immediately returned my call. After explaining my situation, David changed from mortgage lender to caring more about me and my emotional state of mind. He reassured me everything was going to be all right, and he had my back. What mortgage lender does that? David connected him with a divorce attorney on his show, Julie Gumania, for a free consultation. And the next couple of months, they're going to be financially and emotionally challenging. But with David's guidance, I know my situation will improve. David's an excellent mortgage lender and an even better person who I highly recommend, says Joe. Now, Team Hochberg has helped Joe and thousands of AM 560 listeners, including me, but they can't help you if you don't call. 855-563-2843, or simply visit 56david.com. That's 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv. AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Deputy, anything to add?
No, I'm excited for March Madness. I mean, I'm just looking forward to watching basketball all month, including Robbie Avila, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at Indiana State. I love that.
All right, you guys sure you're not making fun of him, right? Because I saw his picture. I'm like, I think people might be bullying him.
We're making fun with him.
Okay, fine. That's good. Yeah. That's acceptable. Thanks to Justin Kosick, Quinn McCarthy. Enjoy the day. 72 or 73 degrees for a high. Sunshine. It is now 9 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
We're awaiting a Supreme Court ruling any minute now I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We got a tip yesterday on Sunday afternoon that we would get an opinion today, and that is out of character for the court. Normally, they would have told us on Friday if we were getting something today.
So Fox's Shannon Bream says it's widely believed this is the Colorado versus Trump case.
About whether Colorado had the right to try to boot President Trump from the ballot under this theory of the 14th Amendment that he had committed insurrection.
Now, the former president has not been charged with that specific crime over the Capitol riot, but he has 2 election-related indictments.
Colorado and Maine have both taken action against him. They're both part of Super Tuesday. Then Illinois added to that last week. So it all comes down to this. All the states are waiting for this.
Former Trump Organization Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg is in court this morning in New York to plead guilty a second time.
While Weisselberg, who is 76, is expected to concede that he lied on the witness stand at the former president's recent civil fraud trial, he is not expected to cooperate against him. There's no word on how many or what kind of charges Weisselberg faces. His loyalty to the former president has already cost him his freedom once with a guilty plea in a tax fraud case, testifying against the Trump Organization and spending nearly 100 days jailed at Rikers Island.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. We mentioned Super Tuesday. There are 16 contests tomorrow after North Dakota's Republican caucus is today. Former President Trump could win them all. Senator Tim Scott, who dropped out of the race then endorsed him, tells Fox.
Woo, he's going to run the tables. This election will be over tomorrow night. He will be our nominee.
But there was the first Trump loss in Washington, D.C. Nikki Haley